that piece that broke off was, so there's a chance that it wouldn't reattach for surgery. So
the line and unbelievable. In this country, could have. Be right back.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Joe, thank you for the call. Let's go to Dan in Colorado. You're on Break Radio Saturday. We got 30 seconds, sir. How can we help? Dan. Going twice. Oh, we. Very special shout out this Father who are listening around the country. Happy Father's Day. We're rooting for President. Again, remember, folks, here we doing this thing. If we actually fight back, never get surrender, don't back down. Rock and roll. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and have a great day. I got American faith in America's heart. Raise the flag. I got stars in my eyes. I'm in love with her. And I won't die. Financial timeshare because they told you it was a great investment. Timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-475-1818. That's 800-475-1818.
Ryan, I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch in.
Visit inDOCtriNATIONlive.com/radio. Up from $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month for full rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
My name is Preston James. I've been a stock and options trader for 23 years. I used to be an active swing trader, but that all changed once I discovered my Money Press weekly paycheck method. These days, I'm a passive trader, hauling in more cash while being able to sleep at never dream possible. I'm passionate about the market, and I like to keep it simple. My methods are changing thousands of lives, and I'm confident it can change yours. But let the proof do the talking. By going to accountproof.com, that's accountproof.com, you'll see a 7-minute video group $1,000 account to 100 path overnight. You're 7 minutes away from change. We thought you knew about trading and investing. Go to account. That's accountproof.com.
Gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM 125.
Bombardment killed at least one person. The Strait of Hormuz again citing it.
No, the other one does more. He lets himself back in, and so does IR.
Flowing out of the nobody's ever seen before. Today is really strikes on southern Lebanon.
All right, anybody here? No.
Reports of a ceasefire agreement. Israel vowed to keep Israeli forces in southern Lebanon. Israel is eliminated. Hezbollah.
and commits to a great.
Many of the Arab.
So we now have a coalition. Arab countries.
Salem Radio Network. A GOP congressman cites facts about gang violence. Things off a charge of racism from a Democrat on Capitol Hill.
Texas Republican Brandon Gill pushed back.
Hear that thing running.
From Arizona,
It's on electric until I hit the gas, until I get on the road. Yeah.
Mr. Gill warned about cultural changes from mass migration, citing Britain's gang
Like
scandal.
yours, half and half.
Yeah.
Congressman Gill highlighted his
Yeah.
own family's diversity and declared that the racist label no
Yeah.
longer works to silence debate.
And that is
No.
correspondent Andrew
No.
Stewart reports.
Even Tesla's, technically, there's a connector for Teslas. You could use one there too.
They tell you what you want to hear and not what they can deliver. Many of
No,
them
it doesn't. It charges mostly when you're driving. So
We're legal tax defense, and I'm here to tell you that all tax
Oh,
companies are not
yeah.
created equal. We're the nation's
That's why it's got the backup when you put it in reverse.
over the past 15 years. If you've been struggling and owe $10,000
'Cause
or more to the
that way,
IRS,
because people won't hear it backing up.
call
got the-
800-683-6853. If
I love you guys. See ya.
from the IRS, have unfiled tax
Yep.
returns, or facing active collections, call Legal Tax Defense now for a free, no-cost consultation. If we can't resolve and settle your case with the IRS, no one can. Get protected today by calling Legal Tax Defense at 800-683-6853. You could save thousands. Call 800-683-6853. 800-683-6853. Or visit LegalTaxDefense.com.
President Trump presiding over a Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House and mentioned markets and how well they were doing on Friday.
President Trump awarding the Medal of Honor to a service member who fought in Afghanistan and to 2 Vietnam veterans. Prior to the ceremony at the White House, the president mentioning the deal with Iran and how U.S. markets are reacting.
Yes. It's a very important business to take care of. I just want to say that you just hit a new all-time high. The 401ks is at a new all-time high. And oil is dropping like a rock. Other than that, it's another day of paradise.
More Winters reporting.
Then in Latin America's top development,
See that partial
Pope Leo the 14th about the potential of rare earth mining. Yilong Goldfond, head of the Inter-American Development Bank, argues it could benefit Latin America if done responsibly. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Next, bringing you the latest from her corner of the streets, it's Sunny's Corner with your host, Sunny Johnson.
Nick Hamlin, auctioneer.
Okay, yeah.
Starting bid.
Hello, you beautiful, beautiful people. You could have chose me anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with us. Welcome. Sunny's Corner. Coming up at the top of the second hour, we are going to continue our celebration leading up to America's 250th birthday. So we will have little sis of the show come through to chop it up and give America her birthday toast. Willie Yates will be in the top of the second hour. Definitely want to make sure you tune in for that. Okay. Look, I could have ripped into your Republicans and talked to you about how much they hate you. And now, with John Thune actually having to admit that basically there's a strain of your Republicans in Congress that hate Trump so much they won't do anything, meaning this is why he isn't getting any of the legislation passed. It is your own party that is stopping Trump from actually being successful. Like I'm. It's not me telling you that now. Now you're getting it from the horse's mouth. So maybe now you understand, because if you're gonna blame Trump for this, then the Republicans that are stabbing you in the back silently, they get off, and they should not get off. But if you are not properly placing your blame and your anger where it needs to be, that's a little cold pot on your part. And I could have done my entire opening rant on that, and nothing would have gave me more pleasure. But every once I've told you there's nothing I would ask of you that I would not do with myself. So after last week's Viva Friday, I have a couple of people that I kind of I value their opinion, or at least I wanted to listen.
What the fuck are you doing?
And truthfully assess if they tell me some things, right? And basically, I got two responses repeatedly, right? So I'm figuring if they came up in repetition amongst those people, and I'm guessing they're also thoughts that were shared by a lot of you. So I wanted to take just a hot second, to address it, and to also slip in a little Frederick Douglass, because we're leading up to that moment. So leaking the Frederick Douglass scene right now, setting us up for everything we do around that famous speech of his. I thought it would be no better time. So just because I'm self-reflective person, right? And I want you to understand that I am very self-reflective. I take it seriously, right? I'm betting if you didn't love the interview, that it fell into one of these two categories. And the first one is, Sonny, it's just your approach. I appreciate that question. It's just, it's just your approach, right? It's just your approach, Sonny. There's nothing else. It's just that. And it snaps you back, right? But I hear some of my audience say, it's just in the circumstance that you and your brother abolitionists failed to make a favorable impression on the public mind. Would you argue more and denounce less? Would you persuade more and rebuke less? Your cause would be much more likely to succeed. But I submit, where all is plain, there is nothing to be argued. I think I left everything very plain. It wasn't much ambiguity to what I did, right? But of course, when I tried to be just myself, and my personality persuades, it's also because, to quote Frederick Douglass, the feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced. For it is not lightning we need, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. So what I am trying to say to you is, this is the same argument they were having back then. You're trying to have me right now. And I'm going to give you the same response Frederick Douglass gave them back then. I'm going to still be giving you the same response right now. It's not going to change. And these people that you follow, you don't follow them because you think that they are weak, or that they are soft, or that they are pliable. That's not why you influencers. That's not why you follow your little media pundits and your spokespersons and all them, you don't follow them because you think they're weak.
Unnecessarily fucking close.
You cheer for them because they can validate and make your argument better than you can make it for yourself, and you feel like somebody is speaking on your behalf. You see them strong, but you would turn around to me and ask of me to weaken myself in their presence. Why? Did I not make intellectual arguments? Did I not back up what I said? Actually, wasn't I predictive of what I said, and I merely brought you proof of what I told you would be? Why, if I am in that position, would I weaken or soften myself? And if you seriously thought I was a voice for you and you felt me sometimes, and sometimes I was so crystal clear, and if I was fighting in your corner, it would be so, all of that. Why would you ask me to weaken? See, it's that whole thing. When hypocrisy starts popping up, when contradiction makes its interest, Abraham warned us about that, right? That there's a problem somewhere in there, right? Why would you want me to weaken? Again, I can't answer that for you. I can't see your face. I can't go inside your head. Like, none of that is possible for me. But I will give you an answer. And if I had to answer it in my own voice, I think it would be maybe a little harsh, right? And it was funny because I wasn't going to talk about this morning. And then once I saw this and I started thinking about the conversations I had, I started realizing exactly why this needed to be played. So let's go ahead and listen to some little cultural advice that I didn't even know I needed and already lived out until I heard it with my own ears. So let's go ahead and play the clip. I appreciate that question. Some time ago when I was working at Reform Alliance, co-founded by Jay-Z, Meek Mill, Roger Kraft, and a few other folks, around the table were people whose net worth exceeded anything that I had ever imagined growing up. They were billionaires. These were industry leaders and people whose names opened doors. And when they started walking into the room, I had to pat off. Partly out of respect, partly because I thought that that's what somebody like me was supposed to do in a room like that. And Jay-Z looked at me and he asked why I took it off. And I explained myself, and he said something I've never forgotten. He said, "Where you are, there you are." And
wherever you are, there you are.
Nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do with it being paper planes or anything else. He was talking about identity. And a lot of people spend their lives shape-shifting or code switching, so to speak, right? They're changing who they are depending on who's watching. And they're trying to become whatever the room expects, trying to earn permission to belong. But there's a danger in constantly editing yourself for acceptance. I was having a conversation with my bishop, and he was telling me a version of that. Because eventually you become successful and still don't know who showed up, right? Because you spent years performing versions of yourself. And that moment taught me something, that you should always respect the room, but never shrink in the room. Never become smaller so other people can feel larger. Don't ever confuse humility with self-erasure. And the room didn't become valuable because I entered it, but I didn't become less valuable because they were already sitting in it. And that's a lesson a lot of people spend their whole lives trying to learn. And it's a lesson that I have been trying to tell you forever. You think these people that are in these political offices are so smart. You think these people are better at what they're doing than you could possibly be. And I keep telling you, you are wrong. I keep telling you, they show up, you don't. And if you were to start showing up and being in those spaces, you would sound a lot like me. You would get tired of hearing the same stupid talking points. You would be tired of understanding that the people whose voices are the loudest are not actually there to affect change. They like their position, they like their status, they like the benefits, but they are not looking to do anything real and long lasting for America's survival. But as long as you trust that these people are smarter than you and you walk into rooms and you shrink, you thank them, you praise them, you goo goo gaga over them instead of asking them questions of substance that matter and will persuade them in how they act when they represent you. You go into rooms and you see people and you think they're bigger than you and they're not. And you want me to repeat that behavior. I refuse. I will show you better. I don't care what room I walk into. I don't care who's sitting in that room when I walk into it. The color of the person's skin doesn't matter. You can find me being exactly who I am, no matter what the makeup of the room looks like. Because it's not performative. I'm not trying to get anybody to like me simply because they like me. I'm trying to get people to activate. And if I have to challenge your mind, if I have to challenge your beliefs to do so, I do so. And guess what? I do a good job at it. That's why y'all so triggered every time I do it. But you will have to think about it. You will have to reconsider. Because I can promise you one thing. I will never weaken you or anybody else. And the day you realize that that's what real love looks like, real acceptance looks like, the day you realize that, we'll all be better for it. And let me tell you the funny part. Viva didn't feel that way. When I said thank you for coming to Sunday's Morning, he said I appreciate it, and I'm used to our conversations like that. I grew up in a rowdy family. I understand it. So trust and believe the way you feel was you, not him. Keep that in rotation, okay? The second one was, Sonny, you should have just stuck to your principle, right? You should have not broached the subject. Why did you have to go there? If this is the way you feel and you always saying you don't have to respond to everything like that, why didn't you just keep that energy? Why didn't you just stay there? And I'm sitting like, did you listen to any of the lead up to how we got there? And again, it's one of those things where I feel like, if I just let my words come out, they might come out a little bit harsh, a little bit, brutal. But after I heard that clip that I played for you just a second ago, the next tweet down was this one. So I was like, okay, you know what? I get it. Point made, God. Somebody need to hear it. Got it. So let me read this for you rather than say it in my own words, but I can assure you, it's the way my heart feels. I take full responsibility when I am wrong, and y'all know I do. Y'all know I do. I take full responsibility when I am wrong, but I will not apologize for how I react when you humiliate, disrespect, or deliberately provoke me. You don't get to do both. There's a tactic that doesn't get talked about enough. They push, they poke, they chip away at your dignity with little digs, public embarrassment, and deliberate provocations. And then the moment you respond, suddenly you're a problem. Suddenly you're too emotional. Suddenly, your reaction becomes the entire story, and everything they did to trigger it conveniently disappears. That's not an accident. That's a strategy. Reactive abuse is real, and it works because good people feel guilty for finally snapping after being endlessly patient. They count on your conscience. They count on you apologizing for breaking when they spent weeks trying to break you. Your response was never the issue. The behavior that caused it was. And I thought about it and I was like, well, wait a minute. I wasn't triggered. I did the adult thing that you do in situations like that. I didn't bicker back and forth on X with Viva. I said, let's play. Invitation open. When you're ready, let's have the conversation. Let's have the debate. Is that not the adult way to handle it? Or should I have played race games all on a timeline, got everybody involved, and see how much clicks I could get once the bot started to play? But you don't consider that, right? That's not taken into the evaluation of content and character. Even though he did everything along those lines. All of that gets forgotten. Everything gets forgotten. When I ask, do you actually know anything about the subject? Or are you just jumping in to play race games? He knew nothing about the subject. You skip over all of that. That doesn't come into consideration because that's the actual content that matters. That's the actual context that holds weight. But in the relevance of how you think about the conversation, not really. Whole point being, you keep listening to these people that have zero understanding of anything race related in this country, except when they can jump in and say a black people bad. When it's their time to actually have an intelligent conversation on the subject, they start stuttering. And somehow that's a me thing. Me telling you that, showing you that, bringing you proof of how what I predicted coming true right before your eyes. That's me not standing on principle because I thought it was very clearly me showing you exactly what it looks like in real time. You can see it with your own eyes. And again, I'll leave it up to you to judge. And you can feel any way you want to feel. And I've taken into consideration these two lines as far as concerns you might have. But I'll tell you, I will not weaken myself. I will not shrink. And I suggest you stop weakening yourselves. I suggest you stop shrinking. I promise you can't take over until you do. I'll lay that on the line for you. If you want to look at it in terms of race and our principle, that's a you problem. The principle stands. Stop weakening yourself. Stop shrinking. And secondly, sometimes your principle shows itself. Don't go and get clicks. Have the conversation. Have the debate. Widen it up. Let the people that are listening to you hear for themselves. Let them understand what is really going on. Let them have a painted picture outside of just your words. That's what you got last week. I'll leave you with those. And as I like to say, every once in a while when I turn on my little switch, I didn't know we had a switch. I just learned last week that we got a switch. That's colorblind. If you wanted to be. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back in a moment.
The 2026 NBA Draft could transform the league. This NBA Draft is incredibly deep. Definitely the deepest in my mind since 2017.
Hear every franchise-shaping decision on SiriusXM. Listen to NBA Radio for interviews with the top prospects and analysis throughout the week.
This is where your GM makes his money.
Then, Tuesday and Wednesday night at 8 Eastern. Hear every selection of the NBA Draft on Channel 86 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Business owners with salespeople. If each one of your salespeople could close as well as you do, or your top salesperson, how much more money would you make? Hi, this is world's top sales trainer, Jason Evans. If the success of your business is heavily based on how well your salespeople close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more, we guarantee in writing we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free. No strings, nothing to buy, and let us prove how much better we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
She was the sister who went unnoticed. A daffodil might look plain next to a lily, but on its own there is much to be admired. Now, her greatest chapter is yet to come. The most important thing is to be yourself. From the world of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice comes a new BritBox original drama, Mary, You Will Flourish, based on the best-selling novel, The Other Bennet Sister, now streaming only on BritBox. Watch with a free trial at BritBox.com. The people of the United States in American history. June 16th, 1858, Abraham Lincoln delivers his famous House Divided speech during his campaign for the U.S. Senate. And on June 19th, 1865, Union troops arrived in Texas to announce the end of slavery, a day now celebrated as Juneteenth. Counting down to America 250, only on Sirius XM Patriot 125. Sonny's Corner on Sirius XM Patriot 125. California going into our next topic. Reminder of this quote, because I know what it does to you when you hear it and you think about it. So, especially me, right? So I want to repeat it as I go into this next topic, because I want you to have a clear understanding, okay? The feeling of the nation must be clear. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced. For it is not light that we need, fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. Okay? I want you to keep that in mind. As of now, what started at 165 has now dwindled down to approximately 95. And that number can continue to fluctuate downward as more primaries are held across the country. What number am I talking about? I would be talking about the number of prominent Democratic socialists that are running on the ballot, and this is mostly at state senate levels, you've seen some on federal levels, and cities like Mayor Mamdani and the leading candidate that is currently in Washington, D.C. Okay? These are Democrat socialists that are grasping power all across the nation. Openly. You can call them the Bernie Sanders bunch. And outside of people like Bernie Sanders, you're going to have a Barack Obama wing that is starting to see they could actually pull this off. And more and more attaching themselves to some of these Democratic Socialist candidates. Now, I've been telling you guys since AOC about what is happening right now. The Democratic Socialists are running from the left of the Democrats. So any Democrat seat that is uncontested or that is vacant, they are putting a Democrat socialist in that seat. Democrats are not really running real candidates against them. And they are running unopposed in a Democrat primary in a plus 14 Democrat area. And they're automatically getting on the ballot without having to do any real explanation of their agenda, of their ideology, of any of it. They are getting into office in uncontested races or races where they are primarying an incumbent Democrat from the left. They are not having to meet Republicans, in most cases, not serious Republicans, in any of these races. They are inserting themselves by default. Do you not see this as a real and legitimate problem? Because you cannot keep sitting around and saying socialism will never come to America. Socialism, it's been tried all over the world. It's killed millions of people. It's like, do you understand that's not enough to stop them? I want to need some people to understand what I'm talking about when I say the feeling of this nation must be quickened. No, I'm not talking about race. I am talking about ideology, where socialism, Marxism, whatever you want to call it, is currently leading us. The conscience of the nation needs to be aroused. Over $30 trillion in debt, and we keep spending. No cuts, no regular business in Congress. Like, I'm asking you, can you not understand the weight of these words? Can you not understand where we are a nation that put trillions of dollars into NGOs to not only start color revolutions all around the globe, but here on American soil? I'm asking you, do you get it? Everything you've heard about the deep state, everything you know about fraud, how big of a list does this have to get for you to start saying, for it is not like that we need but fire, it is not gentle shower but thunder, we need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. How much does it take to get you to the point where you feel that way? And when you hear it, your mind doesn't instantly go to race because you understand what the bigger thing is right now. This is the bigger thing. Is there a component to it, context in it that would probably lead to race? Oh, it's a big one. It's a humongous one. But that in and of itself is minuscule to what we are actually facing. It's really, really like small by comparison. AOC was the blueprint. They have rinsed, repeated that blueprint, and they are taking over. And then don't even consider the ones like, say, Elizabeth Warren, who yell all of the exact same talking points, but don't have the title attached to her name. How many Democrats are there like that in districts all across the country where if one of these bills that radically pushed us towards a Marxist end,
Yeah, she's entertaining. I'll hug for that. I was going to turn on the Tiger game in a minute.
You know, center left or
I'm
whatever.
going to stop at Love's in about a half hour. Top off gas as long as it's cheap enough to get something, a snack.
How big is this?
Clean the windshield.
Because every time I hear Republicans talk about it, they're laughing.
Just in this little short distance, my window's covered in bugs.
There's an honest place for that. Do not get me wrong. You know, queen of it over here. But along with that actually has to come real pushback. A real accomplished. He didn't sugarcoat it. He was very upfront about it. I'm asking about your Republican Party in general. You know, that same Republican Party I was talking about a little bit earlier that currently has a knife in your back because a percentage of them hate Donald Trump. And guess what? They hate you for voting for him 3 election cycles in a row. You do not understand how much they hate you. And they are doing everything in their power to sabotage you and make you look stupid and make you regret your vote and make you look like you were wrong when they are the ones that are actually stopping you from getting any of the legislation you say you wanted. I am sorry. I'm at the point where I am like, do you think it is time for a little bit of thunder? Don't you think it's time for the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake? I am sorry. I just keep questioning exactly how much of it do you need before you see. And this is the response that I am so sick and tired of hearing. Well, so what? What if they want to go to the blue areas and they want to destroy them? Let them destroy them. Let them have it. We don't care. We don't care.
I'm feeling pretty good. Sorry, I'm preoccupied. Wife's doing some work at the house and she's asking me questions. You should just fucking call me.
What you're saying? Have you thought out the ramifications of what would actually happen if, I don't know, say the 5 biggest cities in America went bankrupt simultaneously? What do you think would happen? And if those cities went bankrupt, then you would have the states experiencing equal problems along with the city's bankruptcy. So what happens to 2 of the biggest states population-wise in our country, New York City, California, to go bankrupt? Throw in Illinois. Are you starting to get it yet? That is not just economic destruction and disaster for those blue areas. That will cascade and metastasize all around the country. You will have so many people calling out, crying, begging for help to be saved. They will vote in their own destruction. We watched it happen in real time. In Venezuela, one of the largest oil reserves on the country, on the planet. No need for that country to ever.
Just telling her to stop typing me and just call me if she wants to chat. It's too dangerous.
As they push their citizens,
come on, dude, get by me so I can get around this idiot.
And begging, they were able to take over everything.
New York figures.
Economic destruction. Totally. And I know there's 1,000,001 other stories from around the globe that can replace that. I'm just saying, foreign-wise, That's what I've seen happen in my lifetime. From a country
The
that
fuck? So she fucking types.
the leader of democratic socialism in America said they are the new America. Living there, you get closer to the American dream than actually living here. And he said this on their way to socialism. He said this on their way to Marxism. He's just really silent about it now. Where's the consistency of these arguments? Where are the capitalism champions? Where are the think tanks popping up?
What the fuck is
Where
this
are
doing,
group
dude?
economics showing themselves? If we are the capitalists, if we are the people of economic freedom, and it must be maintained and it must be defended, and that is an ideology that falls.
Yeah, I'm just telling her to stop fucking texting me. If she wants to ask me questions, just call me.
Where is anybody with
It's not
any consistency?
too fucking dangerous,
not
man.
distracted by waste games, able to
Especially when it's a
actually
long-ass
articulate
conversation.
what's going on, being able to hold Republicans responsible for their part in it, and not just ridiculing Democrats, and then actually having a solution that is based on our republic if we can keep it. Where is it? Do you see it anywhere around you? And if you are thinking about it right now and it's coming up and it's popping in your mind and you're trying to figure out who is that person, who is it? Well, this person is good talking, about whether, the French president's right has penis, and this one is good at talking about how evil Israel is, and this one is good. Which one of them is good talking about capitalism versus socialism, the fight we're about to face, and a pushback on democratic
Man,
socialism?
I like most of her arguments, though.
Which one? And I will keep asking because I'm going to need you to come up with an answer, because this is on the ballot. It is no longer theoretical. It is no longer where you can just throw rhetoric and ridicule at it without actually satisfying an answer.
Weather said it was going to be in the upper 70s today. It's already over 80.
And of course,
what's up, Jared?
Just a second. I'm not going to just throw that out there with you without giving you a solution and showing you that it's possible. So we'll do that when we come back.
The U.S. Open is on Sirius XM. This is really good. It's going right towards the hole. It's in. Your exclusive coverage. Shinnecock Hills Golf Club right now. For one of the most incredible open battles in U.S. Open history. Find the 14th hole is fifth of the day. Right at the hole. And it goes in. A couple of hops and boom. That's an Eagle. U.S. Open Radio. Channel 92 of the cover and the Sirius XM app.
Big fluffy clouds, but none of them look like rain clouds here. Looks pretty nice.
Many drivers are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot
Big
longer.
flags.
But with the average car now over 12 years old, most manufacturers' warranties have expired.
Another one coming
I'm
up.
Danica Patrick.
One
If your car is out of warranty, a single trip to the mechanic could cost you thousands. That's why smart drivers choose Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, Endurance could have your car covered for the drivetrain, electrical, AC, transmission, and more. And Endurance is with you every step of the way, from filing a claim to paying the mechanic of your choice directly. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Call Endurance now and choose the plan that fits your budget. Act now and get 1 year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free.
For your fast free quote, call 800-458-1375. 800-458-1375. 800-458-1375.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
Business owners with salespeople. If each one of your salespeople could close as well as you do, or your top salesperson, how much more money would you make? Hi, this is the world's top sales trainer, Jason Evans. If the success of your business is heavily based on how well your salespeople close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more, we guarantee in writing we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free. No strings, nothing to buy, and let us prove how much better we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University.
Business owners, tired of slow banks, piles of paperwork, and credit-based loan denials? At Signet, funding is based on your revenue, not your credit score. No red tape, no waiting weeks, just fast access to capital with real people who understand small business. You need to be in business at least 1 year and averaging $50,000 a month or more. Get started at signetfunding.com. No cost, no obligation. That's SIGNET funding.com. signetfunding.com. This is Sonny's Corner with your host, Sonny Johnson, on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
Welcome back to Sonny's Corner. Okay, listen, like I said, everything I said, I stand on that back again, right? But here's the good news. I have like really good news.
I have a few cameras to hang.
Unless.
A couple of them are outdoor.
So it's really good news. Unless. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the sound.
Main thing is I got to make sure I'm going to be able to even get in. They replaced the locks on the outer doors. The key I have is for the inner doors, but they said they're going to leave me a key hidden. So we'll see if they actually do that.
Let's reflect on a low level what we can do. If you're sitting on money more than you need to pump it up. You need to give your money away. It is really hard to shift that mindset. I know that it's tempting to be like, I worked hard for this. This is my book. You did it. Like, you might have worked hard a little bit, but that was also compounded with luck and white privilege, maybe some generational wealth from that white privilege. Like, give away your money. It takes a constant mindset shift, but you can do it. And if you need ideas of where to donate, let me know. How was that? Yeah. We're all like, we have white privilege. 2020. That's so hard. We're like, we have white privilege, and we're going to do something about it. And now we're like, all hoarding our money. So we need to give it away. That's all. I'm working on it too.
The white liberals are telling the other white liberals not to hoard their wealth. They said that you don't actually work hard for any of your money. And again, this was specifically targeted towards white liberals that they don't work hard for their own money. They mostly got it from luck, white privilege, and generational wealth. And that they
so yeah, it's supposed to be in the 70s for the next week. Rain off and on every other day.
Right? And basically reduce themselves to the minorities in America, and then they will be doing their part for the cause. This is your competition. Listen.
I'm sure he's okay.
This is your competition. And I want to ask you something, right? And I want you to consider everything.
He would let us know if something bad was happening.
If you took this,
maybe just working hard, doesn't want distractions.
People that have came from
never know.
From the projects, from the hood, got out, and now live middle class, upper middle class. And you took this message to them. What do you think that their response would be to this white lady?
Yeah, I hope, nothing bad's happening. But
this white lady is talking to white liberals.
Try not to go to the worst in my head on things anymore.
It wasn't about you. It didn't include you. Don't do what white people person is, okay? She specifically said white liberals. She is talking to her fellow white progressives. Let her cook. Let her cook. You should be amplifying this. You should be pushing the white liberals to give up all their money. And you should be pushing the white liberals
I love this stuff.
to be like,
mid to upper 70s weather. It's perfect. It's not too hot, not too.
Because as soon as that pressure starts going on them, instead of Elon Musk, guess what's going to happen? Those people are going to start shutting it down. It'll be pressure from the people at the bottom that are tired of having these people lie to them and not give them what was promised to them. They'll start looking at them first to eat. And that's what you want. You should lean into that. Like, very much so. You should actually lean into that. This is one of the things that I do consistently when I'm talking to any of these, any black people that are looking at the black-faced Democrats and their attachment to this thing called socialism, having an actual understanding of what that means. Like, you do understand in this conversation, black person who's talking about the oppression of black people and how white people have always taken black wealth and reaped. You do know that that's going to happen again in America. There are over 400 black millionaires, and we have 5 black billionaires in America. So when you're saying, "Oh, black person," you know, black power, the white oppressor, and white supremacy is systemic racism, is you actually want to take black wealth and redistribute it to the offspring of the white supremacists that put us in the deprivation of wealth in the first place. How does that make sense? And again, that's not a conversation that includes you where you need supremacy. It's a conversation where you need to understand these people are repeating talking points and no one ever stops and be like, explain that to me. Like, tell me about this, because I have a little bit of a problem. I start seeing fiery streams of fighting ridicule.
Car on the side of the road.
I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks.
Stern rebuke. Get it? I start seeing scorching irony as a way to have these conversations. Now, imagine you didn't just laugh this off. Imagine you didn't turn it into a white people thing where you include yourself in it and say, "No, I'm not going to give you the money." She never asked you to give her the money or to give away your money. She never requested it out of you. So that should not be your response. If that is your response, it means you are not listening to what is being said. You are listening to respond. And we need to be people that are listening to what is being said. Now, if you have a white liberal telling all her fellow white liberals to give away all of their money, don't you have a better argument to make than protecting your own? Not just to your fellow white conservatives or Republicans, but also every single minority that came here from a poverty-stricken country and pulled themselves up and actually made something for themselves. Do you think they're gonna listen to this? They're gonna think this is acceptable? Are you explaining? Yeah, they're saying white now, but you're next on the chopping block because it's kind of the same thing that they did with black people. I mean, scorching irony. Real detachment from these people built on real ideological differences because these people are insane. But it is not just enough to call them crazy. You must actually be able to create conversations around these topics and actually expose them to the flaws in their own thought process. A lot of
she's talking black.
We have our chats here on Sunday School.
She's conservative. I wouldn't call her Republican, but she's conservative. She hates
as far as
the BS in the Republican Party, just like I do. And I'll never become a Democrat because of it. I'm getting tired of the bullshit from establishment Republicans. There's a lot more shit that should be getting done than is. Because they're just as bad in a lot of cases. It's not just blaming Democrats and it's all Democrats' fault. No. It's the whole kit and caboodle. And all of it needs to be looked at, and all of it needs to be inspected, and all of it needs to be treated accordingly. Yeah, he had Indiana plates. He came racing up on my tail end. Now this is a weird color coming up on the left.
If you walk into rooms, almost like street, when you walk into those rooms, that's when you get to a point where you're not holding
puke green
accountable for what they have actually done.
They already got done with that.
You get starstruck instead of actually a stiff spine. We need more people that have the stiff spine. So again, go with Scorching Irony. They're giving you tons and tons of it. How they look at their kids, how they look at their husbands, how they value their marriages, how they value their careers. There are so many videos of these democratic socialists and their detachment from reality all over the web. And every time I see one of you responding to it, it is simply to ridicule the white person that is talking and not to actually answer any of the substance that they put in. Or if you do answer the substance, you regurgitate the same old talking points that have failed for the last 60 years to stop this infusion from pushing forward. Those aren't working anymore. We are going to need people to be creative. You're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. No more regurgitation. Listen to what they say. Start asking questions that make them have to their response. That is the only way we're going to push this content forward. And it needs to be focused on no distractions. We'll be back with the VA.
Yeah. She got on a rant there. Her producer cut her off.
Got a backyard project or lawn to tame? For over 50 years, VP Racing Fuel has dominated racetracks around the world. Did you know your trimmer, chainsaw, or blower is a little air-cooled race engine, making VP Racing Fuels the logical choice to fuel it? Our specially formulated fuels promote smooth first starts and longer-performing engine life. Available now at all your local retailers. Don't let low-quality fuels stall your weekend. When it matters most, choose VP Racing Small Engine Fuels.
Small business funding approved and funded same day? At a bank? Impossible. At Cardiff, it's the norm. My name is William Stern. In 2004, I built
10 miles until we take a break.
faster and easier to access business funding. We believe that if you have the revenue, you should have the capital. And that's why we've made it possible to get your business approved and funded as fast as today. Since 2004, Cardiff has funded over $12 billion for American small businesses, helping owners grow without the red tape. Our online application takes less than 5 minutes with absolutely zero impact on your personal credit. If you've been in business for at least a year and are doing $20,000 in monthly revenue, you could qualify for up to $500,000 in same-day funding. Don't let the big banks slow you down. Go to cardiff.co/SXM. That's cardiff.co/SXM. Real growth, fast funding. Cardiff. Borrow better.
It's summer, and you know what that means. Storm season. You need the only app that predicts when and where lightning will strike. The Flash Weather AI app. Flash gives you hyper-local minute-by-minute forecasts that tell you exactly when the storm is rolling in and clearing out. Whether you're teeing off on Saturday morning or looking to plan for the week ahead, Flash has you covered. Search Flash Weather AI in your app store and download for free today.
Never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125. Breaking news at Town Hall on Long Avenue in Washington. Iran says it has closed the Strait of Hormuz again. That's because of ongoing tensions between Israel and the Hezbollah terrorists. The Hezbollah terrorists continue to fire rockets at Israel from South Lebanon. Israel says it will not pull out of that area until those attacks stop. And Hezbollah says the attacks won't stop until Israel pulls out. Meanwhile, President Trump has warned that Iran, that if they do anything to violate the agreed-upon ceasefire, it could change if they don't fully comply within 60 days. House Speaker Mike Johnson told the Salem Radio Network this week Republicans have an excellent chance of maintaining control of the House of Representatives in the upcoming midterm elections.
We've got great candidates, an extraordinary record to run on, a great environment, and meanwhile, the Democrats are going stock raving that there's an insurgent left has taken over the Democrat Party. The Marxists are taking control. They're openly running as socialists and anti-Semites and everything else. And I really, really like our chances in the fall. I'm convinced we're going to win.
Johnson says Democrats have lost their way as a party.
These people do not appreciate the life that we have in the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Johnson spoke with the Salem Radio Network this week. President Trump is showcasing the new Air Force One.
The former Qatari jumbo jet has the robin's egg blue exterior of the old plane with the underbelly painted navy blue with a red stripe above it. The tail has a massive American flag on it.
This plane was transformed into a flying White House at a level of luxury that nobody's ever seen before.
President Trump spoke after stepping off the new plane at Andrews Air Force Base. He confirmed he would be taking the new jet to the NATO summit in Turkey next month. This is a so-called bridge jet until a new Air Force One arrives from Boeing in about 2 years. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And you'll find more of these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has announced a 6-month Pentagon review of American forces in Europe. Correspondent Ken Norman reports that review's outcome will depend on just how quickly European allies take responsibility for their own security.
Hegseth is criticizing NATO allies for not providing access to bases for U.S. forces to launch attacks on Iran. He also accuses Europe of prioritizing gender equity and climate change over defense. The review could impact NATO's collective security guarantee that U.S. nuclear weapons will remain in Europe.
And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has noted a significant increase already in European defense spending under prodding from President Trump. Gas prices falling to below $4 a gallon on average. It's bringing a little relief to drivers who've been dealing with a soaring cost ever since the war with Iran began. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Next, bringing you the latest from her corner of the streets, it's Sunny's Corner with your host, Sunny Johnson.
All right. Welcome back to Sunny's Corner. You know what time of the show it is. It is time for me. Love to talk about and have a fire conversation. And all of this was leading up to America.
Fishing in that retention pond there.
We were going to have some of our favorite family here on Sunny's Corner to come through and give America a little toast for her birthday. So, of course, the lineup would not be complete without the one, the only Miss Whitney Yates, our sister to the show. Welcome back.
I'm so glad to be here. What a momentous occasion.
Yes, it is. So, I'm going going to give you the second segment to get your toast. So before we get into that, what's going on as far as what you're looking at the political picture? What are you putting your time and attention on right now?
What am I putting my time and attention on?
Enter Indiana.
Consistently educate
What's their motto here?
how to engage and interact with a political system. What we're seeing now is
More to discover.
incumbent privilege,
1816.
where you've been in the seat for 10, 20, 30 years, and you're just expecting that in the primary you're going to make it out without putting in the work and without providing some type of result. And politicians, the old school politicians are getting a little upset because they're not engaging with the system in the same way. Things have changed, and we have to be agile enough to change with those systems. And so I'm helping people learn how to navigate through them and finding areas and spaces of opportunity for people to engage specifically with Republicans and how do we produce for these communities.
You mentioned about incumbent privilege, right? It's like this is one of the things that I'm like screaming at Republicans about. Now, again, having that argument on the right and seeing some of the movement they've had this cycle, especially like in your state of Indiana, right? There's a really interesting conversation to be had amongst the right in their bubble in terms of how far this incumbent push should go. Me, I think it should go for every single person that holds office. Make them, actually have to stand up and defend the votes that they've taken, their stances and everything. It should be every single one of them. Not one of them should be safe. But I have been focusing on the dynamic that we see coming off of the left, and especially the unchallenged seats that are allowing a lot of democratic socialists to come into power around the country. They are using the primary process as their election cycle because no serious Republican is running in these areas and districts. Those are the ones that they target, and those are the ones that they capture. And so from New York to California to Illinois, and I'm like, y'all don't even benefit from now. Y'all about to get the Chicago Bears in your state, right? Because they're trying to get out of Chicago. Yeah. So you're seeing like this destruction, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, right? These are major U.S. cities, once home to major U.S. industries that are completely turning socialist, and most of them are turning socialist because the socialists are winning in Democratic primaries, and there is no real Republican effort to offer an alternative. And I am not saying that it's easy, but I am saying this is if there is one fight around the country that is worth like, hey, we're going all in on this fight. I would think the way that Marxism is
Holy crap!
To these localities,
look at this motherfucker
attacking from the left
wow.
towards Democrats that have no opposition. I think that is something that should be taken very, very seriously. And
he's taking his fucking squeegee all the way over to his fucking car over there. What a fucking asshole.
And I don't think that it will, because what we have is, honestly, what we've been seeing is like
pull up to the pump if you're going to use the squeegee, motherfucker.
We want to run for positions that we know we're going to win. And if there's any type of uphill battle, or I don't have the base and I have to actually extend my messaging to everyone, then they're up the creek without a paddle.
All right, be right back.
No clue how to do it, or they think that they don't have a clue, but the message is the same because people want the same thing. But they feel as though they don't know how to alter their message to gain the type of traction that they need in order to get the votes. And it's really unfortunate because they won't put anyone up. And what ends up happening is you don't even get a Democrat. You get a Democratic socialist. You get these Mamdani type characters that are able to come in and woo an entire electorate into believing that this is the right way. And we don't even put up a fight or a candidate.
And because there is no, and this is what I think the slickest part about it is, because there is no Republican candidate in place, then the Democratic Socialists then gets to separate themselves from the Democrat, right? So then it becomes, you see this poverty, inequalities, economic inequality, that is the responsibility of the Democrat. We're going to do something completely different, right? You see this crime rate, that's the Democrat. We're going to do something completely different. And there's no Republican there saying, hey, no. The reason that the economics are the way that they are is because the Democrats were constantly appeasing you. They kept giving you more, giving you more, giving you more. Your hands are not clean in this. When it comes to crime, they kept giving you more in terms of the public sector unions, most of which back you and are your support system and backbone. Like, your hands are not clean in this, but there is no Republican in there that's like, you cannot detach yourself from the Democratic Party, because for decades, a lot of the things that the Democratic Party has been doing has been done to assuage you. So your hands are not clean. No, I don't see that argument being made anywhere. And that gives people like Hassan Piker the ability to separate the craziness of his thoughts away from Democratic policy when those two things should be lynched together.
And they will continue to do that as long as there is absolutely no competition. They're going to present themselves as not Democrats and as these socialist candidates. There isn't a Republican to say, listen, a pig is a pig and it's always going to be pork. And your policies have given us pork this entire time. And so I think people just need to understand that if you want to see change, you're going to have to do something about it. And that means you're going to have to run in areas that have been unwinnable. You're going to have to talk to people who aren't considered traditional with the Republican base. You're going to have to cultivate a message that works for everyone, and that is a message of results and prosperity for the entire community. We want to see businesses thrive. We want opportunities to be abundant. We want taxes low and money in our pocket. At the end of the day, if you're able to provide that and cultivate a message where people understand that that's what they're getting and then produce, you should win, hands down.
And it's like you run up on these conversations and you'll instantly see like this reactive nature come out of the Republicans, right? So like there's these ads running in my state of Virginia right now, and they're all about like the Republican wanted to cut health care. And they wanted to slash the ability for kids to go and see a doctor. And so I was sitting there with my family, and anytime one of those commercials come up, they turn around and look at me. And so I sat and looked at them. I said, and how is the service at, the local hospital? And they know about all of these stories that come out about how bad the care is there, how bad the treatment is there. I said, so it's that bad and you want them to have more money. Why? If they're stewards of the money that they have and they constantly give you bad service, as we have been complaining about in this area for over a decade now, right? Why do you want to keep funding it if you know that it's poor service? Why not request that you actually get better service instead of continuously funding failure? How hard is it for the Republicans to be able to make that argument? Especially if you're dealing with populations that constantly complain about the rendering of services. So if you're have one of these big cities and they're like, they never clean up the trash, like, I think that that's a conversation you should want to have about why it works that way, how the public sector union is set up, and why they never actually have to be held accountable when they don't provide quality service. Why are we not having those conversations? And again, I think it's because it boils down back to like the distractive conversations, the race conversations, those kind of conversations. And it never is able to really just stop on an economic argument and just stay there. It always slants to something else.
I don't believe that they want to cultivate a message that actually shows what they're doing. Because I think it's red meat for their constituents when these types of messaging go out that they don't combat it. Because that's what a lot of their constituents say that they want. This move from
the payer-based system to value-based care is about to shake everything up. We're not going to continue to pay for you to go to the emergency room, not get any help with the issue, and be back in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We're not going to continue to fund the deterioration of your health through our public tax dollars. So if you want to be paid, then you need to have value-based care that shows that you are getting healthier, that the care that was given is actually changing things within the whole healthcare framework. And it's going to really shake things up because, to be honest, our system has wholly been predicated on people consistently being sick and not getting fixes, to always have clientele, to have consistent clientele, and to always need something else, another health remedy, when we know that a lot of these intricacies within our health, as we see with diabetes, leads to eating healthier, leads to working out, leads to reducing your obesity. Nobody wants to talk about it. They want to talk about all of those other things. But I think this shift and this switch in the way in which they're changing the payer system is really going to send shockwaves. And until we are able to message what we're actually doing so that we can see the changes necessary to be effective, we're going to continue to lose on these issues.
And a little scorching irony thrown in the mix, I think can never hurt, because even right now you're seeing like this really big fight happening between like the blackface Democrats and the Democratic structure. And that's because, again, a lot of the Democratic socialists, they want to move towards more class-based arguments and more away from race-based arguments. So you're seeing a lot of blackface Democrats come up and say, no. Race is important. Class is not the defining factor, because even within the class ranks, race plays a role in how that is fluctuated. So they're having this split in the Democratic circles about inquiring and putting race in and delineating. And at the same time, you're seeing at kind of the grassroots side, this movement towards boycott. And I'm glad to see the language change and a lot of the messaging change, because they've moved away from boycott to investment and into the returning of the black dollar. Right? So it's not like necessarily now about, oh, we hate you, so we don't want to spend with you, we're not going to you. It's a boycott type of thing. It's more of, no, if we don't start going to black businesses and supporting them, how can we say anything? If we're not prioritizing that, what leg do we have to stand on? So I like seeing that conversation from the grassroots a lot more than the boycott side of it. But I think that those two things are going to eventually collide, and we should be right there with along with the returning of the black dollar, that should also include healthcare, right? That means that under Obamacare, a lot of the local care was shut down. That means a lot of black doctors were pushed out of local private practice and family doctoring. And now they have to go to bigger institutes, bigger hospitals, so forth, so on. And it's really eradicated the amount of healthcare that is available in communities that are considered to be black. Now we can move back to a system that actually has ownership of black health, especially in areas that are dominated by black people. And I would love to hear that conversation brought up against these new people who have understood entrepreneurship and are looking at ownership and are looking at making sure that dollar rotates in the black community, having an argument against that medical dollar also starting to rotate more and more in our community.
And as you said, that level of ownership necessary to direct funds in a way that's going to be most beneficial for your community and for your group. And I don't think a lot of people are thinking about it in that way. Just this level of ownership and autonomy, less federalizing of who should be providing our health care, and putting it back into the state's hands that then give it back to the municipalities, and it's closer into your hands to be able to direct some of those funds. Actually, really interesting, in Indiana last week, we got a waiver from the federal government to be able to use our federal dollars through our education system in a way that we deem to be more efficient. So our schools aren't focused on federal compliance, and we can utilize these dollars in a way that's most beneficial to what we need within these communities. We asked for it to actually go further than the waiver that we received, but we were happy to get that waiver, so we are not handcuffed by the federal government to be able to provide educational solutions for, our students here in Indiana.
And I just think it's going to be on issue after issue and after issue. You're gonna see more of these pop up, especially as they started to downsize the federal government and downsize a lot of the state and local governments post COVID. They couldn't keep up with the COVID level spending, so you see a lot of downsizing even in local municipalities. And as a lot of those people are leaving kind of the public sector, you're going to see a large group of them wanting to become a part of the private sector in an entrepreneurial way, an ownership way. And again, I just think it's going to be so super interesting when those conversations start coming up. And Black people are serious about generational wealth. They are serious about economic independence, which I am like, the conversations are so super dope to watch right now. But when those start meeting up with the conversations that are currently happening or coming from the left, where it's, you didn't build that yourself. How much of your money can we take? Like when those two conversations and those two different approaches start colliding with each other, I think there's going to be such fireworks and division on the left. But again, if there are no Republicans seeing that message, understanding what it is, looking past race and just seeing the economics of it, it's going to be another home run that they just swing and miss.
And they're really good at the swinging, and they're really good at the missing. Hopefully they're listening out there. Listen to Sunny. Take her advice, please, because this will be a really great opportunity for us to have messaging for all Americans that is going to be focused on economics and actually bringing us back to a place where we don't feel like we're at a loss and that we're losing.
And also having an understanding that tough times are going to come for America. You do not build up $30 trillion in debt. You do not, sit with a $7 trillion budget, like $2.5 trillion deficits. You don't get to that point and not have some kind of difficulty when things are in correction mode. And I think now it's not just a matter of the debt and the deficits and the irresponsible economic spending that have come out of the government, but also the ending of globalism as we know it, the entering of AI and robotics, like maybe even the effects of clean energy as far as it being able to be pulled from space instead of actually produced here on land. Like the technology of the future is right on our cusp. And anytime you go through any big technology change, there's also massive amounts of destruction. So like we're hitting this perfect wave. There's going to be hardship, but if we know that it's coming, we can mitigate it. If we understand what's on the horizon, we can start planning for it. If we are forward thinking instead of distracted, then we will be the ones that are able to shape what our destiny looks like. Yes, tough times may come, but all it'll do is create tougher Americans, and that's what's necessary for our fight ahead. And I wish we actually had a political structure that understood and was pushing and was very much dedicated to making sure that was the message.
I think we need a political structure that is dedicated to that message and really just understanding the needs of the people in that specific time. I wouldn't say that the needs of America 2 years ago are the same needs of America right now. A lot has changed and a lot is changing. And what I've been witnessing from a lot of our elected officials is nobody really willing to speak on what is happening right now. And it's okay if we're in a lull. It's okay if things are not as great as we wanted them to be. It's okay if we're in our bounce back era and we're not 100% back yet. But by erasing that and pretending that it doesn't exist and pretending everything is fine and pushing all that dirt underneath the carpet, it's not doing anything for the people that.
Yeah, a little snack. And we're going to proceed. We got about another 45 minutes left. I am going to switch the stream over from my phone to my laptop when I'm there. Those are able to get in. And we'll keep the stream going.
Because we, as a nation that is 250 years old, coming up, you are going to have the times where you're in the valley and you're not at the peak. But weathering the storm and the possibility of it being greater is what America is all about.
Oh, I think we will have a nice toast. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to give Whitney the mic and let her toast America for our 250th birthday. We'll be back in just one moment. More quiet conversation.
Hi, I'm John Kasich, the former Ohio governor, and I have a brand new show on Sirius XM. I think I need to bring a little hope to the country. I mean, we will talk about politics, a little bit about faith. We're going to talk about culture, and that could be anything from a great rock star to a priest to who knows. And at the same time, discover some meaningful things that will help us as we go forward each and every day. The John Kasich Show on POTUS Channel 124 and anytime on the Sirius XM app.
Coverage varies by plan, view contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124. 800-458-3124.
Business owners with
just a chicken Sammy.
If one of your salespeople could close
a small fry.
as well as you do, or your top salesperson, how much more money would you make? Hi, this is world's top sales trainer, Jason Evans. If the success
I didn't even get a dirty Dr. Pepper. It was so fucking crowded in there.
People close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more. We guarantee in writing we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free. No strings, nothing to buy.
So bad there was a couple old people there that couldn't figure out how to use the kiosk. Or
5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close from A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173.
I'm gonna finish eating before I go. I don't want to try and do this while I'm driving.
The single best, greatest country God ever gave man. In your quiet, more reflective moments, you think of the sacrifice, the gifts. So many have sacrificed for our liberty, our freedom. What a blessing this is. I gotta say this. Thank God we live in the best country ever. And happy 250th birthday to the United States of America.
The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
Sonny's Corner on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
Welcome back to Sunday Corner, everybody. We are celebrating America on her 250th birthday. So I thought it would be super cool if we got some of our favorite voices from Sunday Corner to come through and give America a toast. So I'm going to turn it over to Whitney to give America a toast.
Okay, before I start my toast, I want to preface this by saying my toast is a little personal. I am someone who grew up in a state-funded orphanage who was told I wouldn't be able to read or write, and now I sit on national platforms commentating on the news, and I've been able to help businesses start my own business and to help fund my community. And so here is my toast to America, not because she's perfect, but because he's possible. In a nation where a child can be born with every disadvantage and still dare to dream beyond their circumstances, a nation where freedom gives ordinary people the opportunity to do extraordinary things. Here's to the entrepreneurs who build, the workers who consistently sacrifice, the parents who provide, the teachers who inspire, the soldiers who consistently defend this nation day in and day out, and the citizens who still believe that this experiment in self-government is worth preserving. May we never, ever, ever, ever
just eliminate
the freedoms that
jobs,
we have inherited, the freedoms that my ancestors fought and
Everybody
died for.
demanded $15 an hour.
May we leave behind a stronger and more prosperous,
What they do?
inevitably
They
more
put in
united
kiosks to replace
country
them.
for the next generation, for the generations to come. Like my brother, who's sitting
All right, I'm gonna throw my bag away and we're gonna roll.
I am hopeful that liberty, opportunity, and responsibility are consistent in guiding the decisions within this nation, and that the United States of America will consistently have more years of attempting to perfect the possibility of the dream. So cheers to 250 years.
All that for a coffee and a cookie. Poor lady.
Absolutely beautiful. And I think that it speaks a lot to what a lot of us think about our country, right? That we are the country of the possible. And when it comes to politics, I think we forget it. I don't think we forget it in our daily lives. I don't think we forget it in the normal American outside of politics. I don't think we forget it.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're
while we're
useless.
like when we were just living. But when it comes to this system of politics and discussions based
I don't know if it was
politics,
stopping or not.
it seems like it tampers the flicker of our flame of liberty. And that scares me just a little bit. But I think I get a little bit I think I got a lot of it back. Like this month, as we are watching people from all over the world travel across America. And this is like the beauty of it all, right? They didn't just stop in California. They didn't just go to New York. They're not just posted up in Miami.
Man, that wind is blowing hard though out there.
The country.
In the plains, look at them fields.
Meet, like average Americans, and to see them respond like these are the nicest people, these are the sweetest people. I mean, to even see the videos where they're like, but in America you have to tip, and they're like, no, you don't have to tip, you want to tip. It's like this thing that they do to you that makes you, and it's like I think for a lot of us, maybe we're looking at all of the viral moments revolving around the World Cup, and maybe some of us are remembering why we live in the greatest country on the face of the earth, and what a privilege it is for us to just be able to be here, to live here, to become a part of this fabric, and how some of the people are so sad when they have to go home after leaving here. I think it has renewed something in a lot of Americans, and I think it's just been beautiful to watch.
I agree with you. America's definitely on her victory tour right now with the way that people from all of these other countries are coming and seeing, one, how vast it is, how different it is, the many cultures that exist here, and honestly, the true beauty of what America is. I think a lot of times we look at the imperfections in our government system, in our leaders, and all of these things that we want to change. But we also have to look at all of the opportunity that is still here. People are risking their lives to come here and live here illegally, and there's a reason for that. It is the thought and the notion that I can be anything. I can come.
They know they're going to get shit for
no
free.
Money in my pocket and build an empire, not only for myself, but cultivate change and generational wealth for my entire family.
Yeah, and send it all home.
I understand we can focus on where we've fallen short, but we cannot forget to marvel at how far we've come, at all the times that we've gotten it right, at the blood that was shed in order to be right and to fix the wrongs that we've made. And I think the beauty, once again, is not really searching for that level of perfection, but just the possibility of greatness, the more perfect union. It'll never be perfect, but the idea of the pursuit to be better than we were and to consistently work on us as a nation is so beautiful. And I'm glad that those coming here, have discovered ranch, they discovered air conditioning, while we have ice in our drinks. And also why the heat index is important. They were like, oh yeah, it's hot over here. No. You're not understanding this kind of heat. And we attempted to tell them, but having them experience it and just saying how wonderful it is has been very refreshing, because sometimes we forget. And I honestly, I call it like the Brittany Griner. When you lived in the country and you have the privileges of living within the realms of all of this freedom, and then that freedom is taken away and you're in another country, you have to experience what that's like. It humbles you very quickly. And we watched that with her and her time in Russia and her Russian experience. When she came back, she was like, I'm glad to be back in America. I love America. I am going to stand for the national anthem now, because it has a different meaning to me. And we need to remind people of a nation that offers hope to the hopeless and opportunity to those who are ambitious enough to go after it, and that the freedom that we have is not something that you'll find in any other nation across the world.
And that it's messy. And I think and I think this is the important part that a lot of Americans need to remember. You are not going to look back at a time in American history where it wasn't messy, where there wasn't vigorous debate, where there wasn't honest, full-throated disagreement. And this isn't like about the issues or race, right? This is our constitutional founding, right? This is the laws of the land. This is how banking would look. Every single.
I saw a good one from an Australian that went to Texas Roadhouse. It was flabbergasted about the abundance, the portions,
Each other. They didn't have kind words all of the time.
bread.
They always insisted
That sounds good tonight,
that
too.
the
Texas
ideas
Roadhouse.
that they were putting forward was worth a lot more than just having a gracious nature, right? And I think over time, we've kind of been pushed to a place of what I would hate to use the word respectability politics, but we kind of been pushed into that area where it's like, oh, you can't be taken seriously if you don't keep your voice in exactly this monotone pace, and make sure everybody's locked right in and don't go too fast. Make sure, like, it becomes this pre-packaged, access card, and if you can plug it in your back and you can operate off of it, then you are also already.
You jump on 469 in about 3 miles.
With real ideas that challenge the status quo and are willing to push boundaries that they think are detrimental to their communities or to their country overall, those become the ones that become ostracized in politics. And I'm happy now, more so with social media, you're starting to see that never really died in America. They just did a really good job gatekeeping. And the more people are able to voice their opinions, the more that the public square is open to all instead of a few people that are deemed worthy to speak. I think we're getting back to a point where the messiness of America, that argument, that debate, that fierce pushback, is stopped being looked at as a negative and has gone back to a necessity. And I think that is a saving grace for America that we cannot get back to fast enough.
I wholeheartedly agree. But is it realistic to think that we're going to get back in a time where I genuinely feel like polarization sells against a new level of currency, and being in Congress is basically turning into you're an insider parading as an outsider, telling us about the problems that you're meant to fix and cultivate laws for on the inside. Seeing a lot of that level of performative leadership, and so I
Performative leadership. I like that word.
And I do believe that there have been leaders that are rising up right now, that are running for office right now, that are primarying people that they don't feel are representative of them and the way in which we should be governing. But we have to stop monetizing the polarization of all of these different things in order to kind of get back to we can be in unison without being uniform, and that's okay.
I'm kind of digging it. Like, I understand it, and I wish that it wasn't the case. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's a complete waste of time.
Because she's monetized. You're monetized.
The more people are seeing it, the more they're starting to understand what it is and what it looks like. I think, like, when we were telling them, they couldn't grasp what we were trying to say in terms of these things are being used to distract you, and now you're playing this stupid game of black people bad. I think people couldn't see it, and I think the more this hate gets monetized, this clickbait gets elevated, people are starting to be like, this is not what we should be doing. And outside of a few very loud voices lately, more and more of the like white conservative influencers are being like, no, I'm not doing this. Like, I understand what this is, and even if they agree, they're like, I'm not doing this because I understand what it is. And I'm like, yes, I'm here for it, because the more we're debating, the more we're having those realizations, and the more we're connecting with each other and saying, okay, well, what do you think the real conversation is? And we're able to have that. Again, I think we get back to it. And I also am willing to admit it won't look exactly like it did, right? With new technology, with AI basically taking over every device very soon, it's not going to look the way the old us looked, and that's okay. And that's okay too. I just want us to not forget the spirit of the old us, and whatever the new looks like, we take that free spirit, unabashed, debating, full-throated conflict, messy America, that goes with us, because the only alternative to that is some kind of authoritative state, and I do not want to see that for America. So with that, I'll let you have the final word.
Well, I actually agree. I didn't think about it from that perspective. As a course correction, we're seeing these performative leaders, the rise of the Jasmine Crockett's, and we've been saying, like, hey, it's a lot of talking, not a lot of action. And now people are able to see what that looks like and how it fails us. And that could be why she's about to be out of power.
Okay.
So maybe it is working exactly how you stated.
I'm glad he's home for Father's Day.
America's
That's cool.
250th birthday celebration allows us to consistently remember
Glad he replied to you.
Before, all that we are faced with now, and to rest on what we have done to cultivate a nation and the freedoms that we have within this nation, so that we can consistently and continually move forward.
Is Jacob still here? Let me see. Look back in chat to see if he's got
to have been raising my daughter here, and I'm excited to see the world that we have
ripping the phone down.
To grow and get older.
And I'm excited to see the world and the part that she plays in creating it. And that's what every American should want. Making sure we leave our
Jacob, you still here? Because I don't want to buy it if you're not here.
Thank you so much for coming through, and I appreciate you always coming through Sunny's Corner, always having an insight to share with us. Beautiful, beautiful toast.
No, Jared's got a red one.
All of the work that you do teaches.
I'm thinking about switching it over to. I still haven't done my premium yet. My 5 hours of premium. I was going to just do a scanner the other night, but I fell asleep on the couch.
bees knees in my book. So thank you for coming through Sunny's Corner and always represent properly.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back and wrap up the show.
Color your day in calmer shades with Mosaic. A collage of relaxing 90s and 2000s. Pop hits to melt your stress away. Mosaic. Channel 305 on most radios and on the Sirius XM app. Included with most subscriptions.
I'm excited. My dad passed away at the age of 63. He was in great health. He's out of nowhere. Stroke. And
yeah, this guy's really nice here.
Family, but my dad had life insurance. So
I think the longest part of what I got to do is just charging up the batteries on the newer cameras.
My wife and 4 kids. The best way to get life insurance is inDOCtriNATIONlive. Because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test. Just a few health questions. 10 minutes. You're covered. Your family is covered. You get $2 million in coverage for $2 a day. That's a 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking man. We don't like to talk about death in our culture, but everyone's going to die. You're going to die. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Slater. Rates may vary, bill monthly, ethos.com/Slater.
Summer's here, and Black Rifle Coffee Company is bringing the fuel to keep up with it. While lots of brands are suddenly discovering patriotism during America's 250th birthday.
Do an ad, see if his name pops up. Hey, Mitty.
And the people who defend this country since day one. That's not a seasonal.
Glad you're home for Father's Day. That's cool.
With every one of their new ready-to-drink cold brew coffee cans, a portion of the proceeds always goes back to those who serve, not just for the summer, but every summer of every year. Whether you're headed to the gym before sunrise, loading up for the lake, or watching the game with friends, Black Rifle Cold Brew is built for people who stay moving all summer long. No weak coffee, no fake patriotism, just cold brew made by people who still believe America's worth celebrating every single year. Find Black Rifle Cold Brew in just black or vanilla now at Walmart or your local grocery store, Black Rifle Coffee Shop, or online at blackriflecoffee.com. Veteran funded, American boosted. This is America's coffee.
This is going to sound strange. You're not yourself. It's not just stress. It's not even just in your head. There's a physical reason you feel stuck. And we're seeing the same patterns in dogs and horses because this isn't about your thoughts. It's about your nervous system. I'm Mark Fox. I'm a space shuttle chief engineer. You're not broken. That's why I wrote Go Find Joy. It became an Amazon bestseller in 3 different categories. Get it free at gofindjoy.com.
This is Sunny's Corner with your host, Sunny Johnson, on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
He's on YouTube right now. I'm going to get him to come over.
That's perfectly into this closing segment of Sunny's Corner.
Yeah, Jacob's in here, so hang on.
There was massive amounts of...
His name pops up with the ad, so...
outside of some like the virtue signaling of the clip that I played earlier.
He's already got one, I think.
Outside of the virtue signaling of that. And the you can take Elon's $1 trillion and cure every disease in the world. You can take Elon's $1 trillion and educate every kid in the world. You can take Elon's $1 trillion and feed every person in the world. And evidently, Elon's $1 trillion will stretch way further than the $7 trillion budget that the United States government has every single year. The $7 trillion can't solve any of those problems, but if you take Elon's $1 trillion, all of those problems will be solved. Now, mind you, understand, the math ain't mathing on how they understand anything that's going on. Having an understanding of this being an evaluation of his companies, this being an evaluation of what people were willing to invest into the future of what they think he will produce. Like, they have no understanding or rationale in terms of how they're making these arguments. Now, most of the people who are making these arguments are aware that they are trash arguments. What they are counting on is, again, nobody countering it. It just sounds right. If nobody pushes back against the logic of it,
it's not attached to him, so he's probably not here.
Kind of out in the ether, and people really don't know anything about the subject. Well, just accept it to be true. And the more I started thinking about it, I actually got a little nostalgic, right? And I started thinking back to when I was like a kid, and this is like maybe 7, 8, 9, just kind of learning, how to navigate. And every time we would go to play Monopoly, my older brother, would always be like, I'm the banker. And he would always And of course, he always won. It was one of the reasons why, I hated playing Monopoly. So when I would go over my friend's house or my cousin's house, and they would be like, "We're gonna play Monopoly," I never wanted to play it because I always had this bad taste in my mouth from playing with my brother. But as I grew up, and the more I started to play with other people, right? The more I started to realize why he always won when we played Monopoly. So, with this understanding and a little bit more intelligence, and of course, the sunny attitude that you've grown to know and love, I remember vividly in my mind. This one day, we were like, we're going to play Monopoly. He's like, I'm Baker. And I'm like, nah, I'm Baker. Because, see, under his rules, Baker made the rules. And again, this was all when we were too young to look at the rule sheet and actually understand what it meant, especially when it came to buying hotels. So no, this time, bro, I'm going to be Baker. And you know how we do around these parts. Baker makes the rules. So I handed out the money. I put the money behind me. I took all the cards. I put everything behind me. And of course, I cheated. I cheated just the way he always cheated. I cheated just the way he always cheated. And as he started to catch me moving more spaces than the dice that I rolled, he instantly started getting real mad. They're like, no, you can't do that. You got to bring the bank out. You got to put the cards up front. You got to make everything transparent. We got to be able to see everything. Suddenly, the way he used to cheat, he couldn't do it anymore, right? He couldn't roll a 7 and move 12 spaces. No, the 7 told you to go to jail. Go to jail. He couldn't get away with the tricks once I had knowledge of the game, once I understand the rules, once I had experience playing with other people and what the game was supposed to look like. And I think for a lot of us now, we never learned the game. We never took the chance to be the banker, to be the one that looks and controls from the background with the understanding of how to make all the pieces work and how to do it fairly so others aren't cheated. We never put ourselves in that role. We just rolled the dice and moved our pieces and hoped and prayed that we were lucky enough to land on a good spot. But the lesson is, once you start to understand and can read and digest the rules, then you can't be cheated. It's harder for you to be cheated. How many of us know the rules of legislation? How many of us know the rules of elections? How many of us know the rules of politics? Like, how many of us actually know the rules versus how many of us pick up the dice and roll every single time, hoping we get lucky, hoping we pick the right candidate, hoping we make the right legislative decision for something that will better the lives of not only us but the people that are surrounding us. Just to roll of the dice and a little bit, but we can't play with strategy. We can't play with group economics. Oh, and let me tell you how me and my sister learned to play with group economics against my brother. How we learned to trade each other properties at equal value instead of gouging each other because we knew that would enable each of us to have more power that he could accumulate. Let me tell you how we learned group economics playing Monopoly. But if you never learn it, if you never experience it, if you never strategize about it, if you don't have preliminary conversations about it, then you enter the game with nothing but the roll of the dice and no knowledge of how the pieces actually work. And I say that again because it hit me this week. Like, that's where we are. We can look at someone that went around the board successfully, that learned the rules of the game, played the game successfully, was able to create and buy, 3 different colors on 3 different spots and make them all banging with hotels and all. He did that, knowing the rules of the game, playing fairly by the rules as they were set by the baker, and we get mad because we never learned the rules. We didn't strategize. We didn't come in with a plan. We didn't think things out. No, we just rolled the dice. And then somehow that becomes inequality. We can't afford to stay in this spot again. And again, this is a conversation that I have with Black America. I will continue to have with Black America. But it is also a conservative conversation. And it's just as necessary on the right as it is in Black America. Let's start having real conversations. Just like our founders did. That's how we got this country in the first place. We know how we end things until we get together.
That's what I thought would happen. Even though I add his name, I think it's just because there's a history of him in the chat. I don't think he's actually showing or in the chat.
Top sales trainer Jason Evans. If the success of your business is heavily based on how well your salespeople close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more, we guarantee in writing we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free, no strings, nothing to buy, and let us prove how much better we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether they sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University. Most people think a mattress is just another piece of furniture. But when you're not sleeping well, it affects everything. Your health, your focus, even what kind of day you're going to have. That's why so many people are switching to GhostBed. GhostBed mattresses are engineered for cooling, support, recovery, and real sleep quality. Because your body should be recovering while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. So if you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, sleeping hot, or even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, maybe that's not aging. Maybe it's your mattress. Hot sleepers especially love GhostBed's cooling technology because sleeping cooler means fewer wake-ups and better mornings. And with GhostBed's 101-night sleep trial, you can try it at home and feel the difference for yourself. Right now, GhostBed is offering their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Patriot and use promo code Patriot. That's ghostbed.com/Patriot, promo code Patriot.
Never gets old. Celebrating America 250, Sirius XM Patriot 105.
This hour from Town Hall, Gary Rose. Iran says it's closing the Strait of Hormuz due to ceasefire violations by the U.S. and Israel. According to multiple reports, Iran's joint military command cited Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon among the key reasons on Saturday. Meanwhile, diplomats are gathering in Switzerland to try to advance the ceasefire agreement. Vice President J.D. Vance confirmed today that he's preparing to join the talks soon after canceling his scheduled trip late Thursday. And Iran state media said its negotiating team is still expected to travel to Switzerland for talks with the U.S. Former Deputy National Security Advisor K.T. McFarland says President Trump has done a masterful job of rallying Arab countries in the battle against Iran.
And attempts to hold this will be the Abraham Accord. Historically, whenever there's fighting in the Middle East, the Gulf Arabs, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, et cetera, they sit it out. They let everybody else fight, and then they just watch from the sidelines. This time, President Trump has managed to bring those Gulf Arabs to our side and to Israel's side.
McFarland spoke this week with the Salem Radio Network. Attacks continue between Israel and the Hezbollah terrorists firing rockets from southern Lebanon. Stefan Jaffa, who lives in northern Israel near the border, says people there do not support a military withdrawal from southern Lebanon without the dismantling of Hezbollah first.
We cannot just stop and pull out because here where we are, we need to be protected against the Hezbollah. The war started with Lebanon because Hezbollah was firing at us. This is not an Israeli initiative. So we had to find some safe room in order to defend our village.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to.
I'm actually going over to my son's tomorrow.
You don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800.
If we leave early enough, I'm going to stop at my dad's house and introduce him to my wife.
7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
It's the official start of the summer this weekend.
Sunday is the longest day of the year for half the planet. The summer solstice this Sunday marks the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere and the start of astronomical summer. It's the opposite in the southern hemisphere, where it's the shortest day of the year and winter will start. The Earth's axis is tilted at an angle as it travels around the sun. Solstices mark the times when the Earth is tipped most extremely, either toward or away from the sun. That means the hemispheres are getting very different amounts of sunlight.
I'm going to run in here real quick to see if they have certain kind of herbs.
President Trump has unveiled the new Air Force One, a formerly Qatari-owned jumbo jet now converted into the a U.S. presidential aircraft. The plane features a bold navy blue and red exterior, departing from the traditional robin's egg blue. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Crank up a channel filled with the rock dads can't resist. Songs that'll have them drumming on.
Be right back.
Hey, listen, this is the good part. Listen now through Father's Day. Channel 300 on most radios. Year-round in the Sirius XM app. Included with most subscriptions. Wesley Financial Group is not an offer.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331.
David Webb, America's evolution over 250 years, is part of our celebration. What we do next as a country, what you do next as an American, matters. It's about we the people. That's where the power begins. That's where the power continues. That's where the future lies for America.
The David Webb Show, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot.
Freedom, zero, control.
From high atop Fox News headquarters in New York City, always seeking solutions, never sowing division. It's Brian Kilmeade.
All right, from 48th to 6th in Midtown Manhattan, where in 24 hours we'll see a raging parade in New York City, hopefully without violence. 53 years it's been. Most of this town is crazy for the Knicks. And Pete, what did you tell me about the ratings for Game 5? For people who get mad at me for talking about a New York story.
Highest rated since Game 5 when Jordan won his sixth and final championship.
And so you're talking about the 90s?
Yes.
Okay. When now we're plus. Now there's so many networks, so many options, so many streaming services. That even says more about how big it is. But I'm getting yelled at, as you know, Molly Hemingway, because a lot of people do not like New York. Anytime New York does well, somebody's angry, like in 49 states.
I mean, there's an aspect of that when it comes to the Yankees because they're winning every year. But as you just said, the Knicks haven't won in forever. So
right.
It's exciting.
Can you be a little bit happy? Thank you. So, Molly, how dare you interrupt? I didn't even introduce you yet. That's Molly Hemingway. Big Drew.
Number 3.
We gotta face facts here, man. We have a real problem in this country right now. This stuff now is at home. We have essentially like Hezbollah, the far right.
All right.
That's crazy. That's we have the evil plan and what we know about the would-be attackers as the DOJ
He looked something up.
Antifa for their role in the Minneapolis chaos this winter. America's being attacked from within. Does that worry you? It does me.
Number 2.
Like I said then, I'm the only candidate who doesn't owe a thing to the political establishment. I don't care what special interests want, how much they beg, how much they give me. I can't be bought, and I won't back down.
So Rick Jackson weighing in after his primary victory in Georgia. The economy beginning to boom and midterm fortunes beginning to sway GOP's way ever so slightly. We have that and some primary results.
Number 1. The Wall Street Journal editorial board, which has been supportive of this administration's efforts against Iran, said the world is more likely to see this as a strategic retreat. Have you won the war with Iran?
Yes, we have. And I think that's a mistake from the Wall Street Journal editorial board because what does this deal fundamentally do? It ensures that Iran won't get a nuclear weapon and it ensures the Straits of Hormuz are open.
Not really. J.D. Vance weighing in with Norah O'Donnell last night, as he did with Gutfeld and The View and Fox and Friends. Details emerging with the Iran-U.S. deal, and I see a little reason for us to be pleased. Question, did the VP actually tell Trump what was in it before he started praising it? Because President Trump now, according to reports, is saying the deal that has been written is not final, even though I think he electronically signed it. A little bit chaotic. Molly Hemingway joins us, editor-in-chief of the Federalist and author of Alito, the justice who reshaped the Supreme Court and restored the Constitution. The President of the United States, quite popular at the G7. When I was doing Fox and Friends, he did a one-on-one, a bilat with the Egyptian president. Now he's with Modi of India.
So we'll see what happens. He praised him as a great leader and says they have a great relationship. And it was going afoul originally. Molly, welcome back.
Great to be here with you.
All right, first off, I guess the number one story percolating throughout the G7 is this deal. It's kind of weird to announce it on a Tuesday and say we'll give you details on a Friday. It's going to only invite innuendo and speculation.
Well, or maybe it's that we just haven't been signing a lot of deals recently when we're in conflict, because it seems that this is really more a framework for ongoing disputes. And getting both sides to agree to that framework is not insignificant. It doesn't mean that everything's resolved. You're beginning to get things resolved. You're beginning to see how the strait will be reopened. Iran always claims that it will not build a nuclear weapon, so I'm not sure how big the concession that they won't do it here is, but it provides the framework for ensuring that there is inspection of that to make sure that they're going to follow through with what they said.
And they get immediate sanctions relief. We saw ships come through reportedly today, according to the Washington Post. We just had Dennis Ross on from Israel, who just said, they are coming through because they're beginning to release both blockades. And the problem is, after 60 days, there's talk of the Iranians and Omanis charging a toll, but they're not going to call it a toll. They're going to call it a fee. That's international waters a toll. That would be insane.
Well, the MOU that Iran agreed to said it would be toll-free, but how that is, the specifics, of course, matter a lot. You just pointed out that Trump said that not everything is final in there, but that's actually true. It's not final. Right. There will be a lot of...
Actually, good price on one of the ones I'm interested in.
Argue here. The threat
Your time's coming back through here. I may stop.
What was it?
I don't want to have it on me. Sitting in the heat out here.
The regime, the destruction of so much of their infrastructure. That's not nothing. And knowing that the United States can come back and do more is not nothing. And so the United States does have a strong hand here. Unless you want this to go on perpetuity, you have to have some kind of framework like this. The devil will be in the enforcement and the details, which are which will be in the days to come.
Right. Do you believe that JD told the president everything?
I think it's really, people always say, Trump is controlled by Israel or Trump is controlled by JD Vance. I think that people who observe Trump knows he's not controlled by anybody. He has articulated repeatedly that he wants to see a deal. In fact, if anything, it's taken way too long to get this MOU done. He started talking about it in April, right? When he said it would happen in a couple weeks. So he cares a lot about this because he knows that bringing this portion of the war to a close is very important for his economy and very important for the midterms. And to have it keep on going on, past Independence Day, I think would be politically very difficult. And on that note, Republicans who should be getting, if past is prologue, should be getting wiped out in the midterms, they're showing some surprising strength. And having the economy improve and having gas prices be lowered right now will be huge for those midterm elections, which are also a concern.
So is your belief, get me to November 5th?
Well, I think, like I said, we can always come back, right? And if we need to come back, maybe after the midterms would be a good time to do it. But also it gives Iran a chance. I mean, we did such a great job of taking out their entire leadership structure that it made things difficult for negotiations because they were afraid to meet in person because every time they did, we would just take them out. And so you were getting different arguments from different sides. They do have some radical elements. So giving them a chance to actually get control over their leadership team and see how they operate, that might be in everybody's.
Do you think, switching to midterms now, do you believe, there's some stats show that, there was the NBC did a poll, I think there's a 5-point gap. The Democrats were more favorable by just 5 points than Republicans compared to 2018, the last midterm that Trump had, where I think it was almost double digits going into the election. What other signs do you see that Republicans are hanging in there?
Well, they had some huge successes with the elimination of those affirmative action congressional districts that for decades of federal judges had said you had to create districts, congressional districts, to benefit the Democrat Party. And the Supreme Court finally weighed in and said that's obviously unconstitutional to create race-based gerrymandering. So they've gotten many seats from there. And one of the things that always seems to help the political parties in the United States is the other political party. So even though Democrats should be doing well, their own extremism, their own embrace of a radical fringe is keeping normal voters away from them. They can't
find a normal man to run for office in the Democratic Party to save their lives. And it just is very toxic for a huge swath of the American voting electorate. Now, having said that, they still have a huge upper hand in that they have a unifying message of hatred for Donald Trump.
And the rich.
And, well, yes, even as they are the party of the ultra wealthy. But and the Republicans haven't really given their own voters a reason to show up and vote. And that enthusiasm is huge for Republicans in a way that it is not for Democrats. The Democratic Party has done such a good job of moving to ballot operations. Like, basically, it doesn't matter if you want to vote or not. A ballot will get into the box. You know, they do a good job of harvesting ballots. And the Republicans keep on having this antiquated notion that enthusiasm will drive it. Well,
it is. And I kind of go around the bottom of it.
Ballot harvesting operations. They better give voters a reason to vote for them.
Where I am
I
at.
want you to hear, and after this soundbite, I think we can marginalize this guy. Here's James Carville on his predictions. Cut 35.
Trump has no earthly idea of what's coming. And I'm telling him, the vote against him in November is going to be like breathtaking. I'm telling you, this guy, by Easter of 2027, is just going to walk away from this job. Just going to walk away. Because he doesn't have any idea of what it's going to be like when he comes to grips with the massive. I mean, it's going to be massive rejection of him. Anybody that has anything to do with him, anything that he has anything to do with.
So, the president's going to walk away from a job that if anybody would say he absolutely loves.
I think James Carville is correct that there will be that enthusiasm among the Democrats to vote against Trump will be huge. And that is something that should concern Trump and other Republicans. But Trump does best when he has opposition. One of the problems he's had is that his current opposition is in the Republican Party, that control the Senate, and it's very difficult for him, I guess, to go to war against the Republicans in the Senate. It won't be any trouble for him to go to war against a Democrat-controlled chamber if it's the House. It won't be fun, and I do think people should be aware of turning the government over to Democrats would be like going back to those days of the first Trump administration when it was just constant conspiracy theories about Russia and shutting down the government with these fake stories, causing problems for anybody who worked in the Trump administration. And I do believe we've seen, even in the last couple of years, there is a strong hatred and willingness to violate every norm to go after not just Trump, but anybody who supports him, disbarring attorneys or running shoddy investigations against anyone who showed support for Trump. People should not forget what that's like and how awful that is.
Remember Michael Flynn, Monica Crowley, others who had their lives temporarily ruined, and Michael Flynn still hasn't bounced back because of these ridiculous attacks on Trump. So bring me inside this story. Jay Clayton's been nominated to be the next DNI, to take over for Bill Pulte, who was put forward and rejected by both sides of the aisle for his lack of experience. And they said, okay, we'll pull him back. And they said, okay, we'll pace check Jay Clayton. Today, the president said from the G7, wait, forget Clayton. Don't even have a hearing for him unless you're going to pass the Save America Act. So the Save America Act, in case you don't know, is a voting act that says you got to have voter ID, you got to have no mail-in voting, no men and women's sports, and that's got to be taken up. Now, the problem is, from John Thune's perspective, they don't even have every Republican vote. They got 48 overall because they lost Murkowski, they don't have Collins, they don't have Mitch McConnell, who's in the hospital right now. How do you feel about that linkage?
Well, it was part of the original deal. I mean, this is how Trump figured out how to operate. You nominate someone who will not get through, which will or even float the name of someone who Republican senators maybe don't like just as much as Democratic senators don't like, in order to get them to play ball on a different candidate who would still be to your preference. This deal was that they would do what they needed to do with FISA reauthorization in exchange for getting a more preferable candidate. But you have to hold the calendar in such a way that you make sure you're getting what you want before you give the other side what they want. And I don't know, exactly how this is something that Mitch McConnell probably would not have mistaken how to handle, but they need to make sure they get what they need to get the concession from the Democrats before they give them the non-guilty nominee.
But how are you supposed to dislodge the Democrats? I watched last night we were hearing this debate, and I just don't see how you get to get those Republicans to switch, let alone get 60 votes from Democrats. Get to 60.
It seems that, when I was younger, we talked about the Senate as the preeminent debating body in the world. And the last time they debated publicly, it just doesn't happen anymore. Sometimes you need to have some debates publicly, not handle everything in backroom deals, and go ahead and just work more than 2.5 days a week, which is currently what many of the senators are doing as they invest more of their time in running for re-election or raising money. But speaking of what we talked about with the midterm elections, you need to give Republican voters a reason to vote for you too. And sometimes that means showing your work, demanding things of Democrats, getting those concessions publicly. And what does John Thune control? He controls the calendar, so it shouldn't be that difficult.
Right. He just says it's a math problem. So how do you get Murkowski to your side? How do you get Fetterman to your side? How do you get anyone? Because remember, the infrastructure deal that Joe Biden put out did get Republican support. The gun legislation reform did get Republican support, but we haven't seen that yet with Trump.
So this is the area for the backroom dealing, right? If you look at someone like Nancy Pelosi, who you may not like her politics, but she was ruthlessly effective in getting majorities to do what she wanted to do. Sometimes that meant making some difficult calls, threatening people, reminding people that where their spouse works might be a privilege that she had granted them. Playing true hardball. This is what people want in strong Republican leadership for the goals of the voters who actually are responsible for reelecting them. So you can give Lisa Murkowski things. You can. And certainly the Democrats are offering her things constantly, and they might even offer her a chairmanship if that meant that she would switch sides. And she's not a Republican in any real sense, except for voting for who the leader is. Well, she knows she has power, and she knows that means that she should be able to get some goods out of it.
All right. So when you look at the whole thing, so maybe there might be something going on behind the scenes. Senator Thune and company, go ahead.
I just want to say one other thing. The current deputy director of DNI is fantastic, and so there's not like the world's biggest rush in getting anybody confirmed. He's someone that, oddly enough, and this doesn't happen a lot in the intelligence community, everybody should like. Aaron Lucas, career guy, but smart, thoughtful, and well-respected by many people.
Right, and it's pretty clear with that position now, the CIA seems to have a lot more control than the DNI. Without the DNI doesn't have a budget, kind of supervises all the agencies.
Yeah, DNI has always been about collating information, making sure that information is being shared properly, and also because of the problems with the intelligence community in recent years, having that transparency that allows people to have greater trust again in the intelligence community after the leadership of the IC behaved so poorly and caused people to distrust them.
Molly Hemingway, thanks so much. You went out number today?
I am.
I thought so. Watch Molly at noon. This is the Brian Kilmeade Show.
From breaking news to big name guests, Brian brings you insight you won't hear anywhere else. You're listening to the Brian Kilmeade Show.
I came to California, I was broke, nowhere to stay. Story of passion and perseverance, triumph and influence. And a voice that still resonates. Rock the Bells presents the Tupac channel. Man, hello, Cool J. Tupac was a super talented dude. He did tremendous things for the culture. All his music and stories celebrating the life of Tupac Shakur during Black Music Month. On now in the Sirius XM app, included with most subscriptions on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or wherever you stream. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I spent years living in fear of calcium oxalate crystal stones, always afraid of when the next one would hit. Now, I just take Kidney Cop.
Battling calcium oxalate stones? It's time to try Kidney Cop, a doctor-recommended kidney supplement that has been shown in laboratory tests to reduce the growth rate of calcium oxalate crystals by 99%. Get Kidney Cop today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCop.com.
Chuck McDowell here with Red Pocket Mobile. How long have you been stuck with the same phone plan? 2 years? 5? 10? Are you tired of surprise fees and confusing bills? Switch to Red Pocket Mobile. With Red Pocket Mobile, premium 5G plans start at just $10 a month. Pick a plan, lock in your rate, and that's the number you'll see on your bill every month. No hidden fees and no long-term contracts.
HPT.
Here's the kicker. Red Pocket lets
I
you
didn't realize there would be
choose
this many people here.
5G network. networks, not just one. And where you work, try one, and if you like it, switch to another.
Right. Let me go figure out what the fuck's going on. I'll be right back.
Plus, keep your phone, keep your number. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
New customers can switch and save 50%. Choose from all three major 5G networks with one locked-in low price and no contracts at redpocket.com. Redpocket.com. If you're a business owner who's tired of banks dragging their feet, mountains of paperwork, and loan decisions based on your credit score, listen up. Signet does business funding differently. Big banks care about forms, FICO scores, and waiting weeks for answers. Signet cares about one thing: your revenue. If your business is bringing in consistent income, you can qualify fast. No endless paperwork, no red tape, and you're working with real people who actually understand small business, not some automated system. To qualify, you need to have been in business at least 1 year and average $50,000 a month in revenue or more. If that's you, Signet can show you funding options in minutes. Just go to signetfunding.com. That's SIGNET funding.com. Again, signetfunding.com. No cost, no obligation, just a quick application to see if you qualify. Fast funding, real people, built for business owners.
Is that joint pain so bad they're saying you need surgery? Are you sick of steroids? Or are you just tired of wincing every time you move? It's time to get lasting joint pain relief the natural way. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine, using powerful orthobiologics to repair joint tissue in your knees, hip, back, or shoulder. We use precision medicine to get right to the root of the pain. Best part? With QC Kinetics, there's no drugs, no downtime, no surgery. And the patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Over 46,000 people like you who are back to living their best life again. QC Kinetics now has over 100 clinics nationwide specializing in pain from arthritis or injury. Are you tired of hurting but want desperately to avoid surgery? It's time to discover these cellular level treatments that are changing the game for joint pain sufferers all over America. Call now to learn more. See if there's a clinic near you. QC Kinetics, 844-809-PAIN, 844-809-PAIN. 844-809-PAIN.
Second opinions. You get them with your health, so why not with your wealth? Your stock market investments deserve a second opinion. At Hennion & Walsh, it only takes a second. To schedule your free second opinion, call 800-279-5279. Hennion & Walsh, the second opinion people. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services provided by Hennion & Walsh Asset Management. Securities offered by Hennion & Walsh, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Mike Slater. The great poet T.S. Eliot. He said the world is trying the experiment of attempting to form a civilized but non-Christian mentality. The experiment failed. We must be very patient in awaiting its collapse. Meanwhile, redeeming the time so that the faith may be preserved alive through the dark ages before us, to renew and rebuild civilization and save the world from suicide. I share that because we need to keep fighting. They will fail. We will win.
Breitbart News Daily with Mike Slater. Weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
The fastest 3 hours in radio. You're with Brian Kilmeade.
So we're waiting on the President of the United States is going to have a press conference in a couple of hours, and then he's going to go have his private dinner with Macron, and they're going to celebrate America 250. And of course, historically, there's nobody better to celebrate with than France, who helped deliver us the Revolutionary War win. So that is great. It's good to see them getting along. For those people who think President of the United States has hopelessly isolated us in a place where we're never going to recover, have you seen what's going on? All of them want to get one-on-one time with the president. All of them. Now, I know it has a lot to do with us, me and you, and the economy, and our military, and everything like that. But whether it's a Middle Eastern nation that was invited there in the president's behest, or whether it's a Western European nation who wants to meet one-on-one, even Canada, who we've been at odds with, you saw a lot of that quality time that they're having. So those people say the president upset everybody forever with Greenland and with his attempt to say we're going to take it by force if we have to, and the Iran war. It's just not the case. People disagree, but the nations are getting along. And also,
I'm pretending to be on the phone right now.
It's pretty indispensable. And also, I
These
think
guys, they're wrecking out the other side, so I'm hoping that they're supposed to be doing that. I don't want to grab the key with them sitting out here in the parking lot.
He's like, can you help me with Ethiopia? They put a dam up and it's hurting the Nile River. The president goes, yeah, I guess I'll handle it. Really? Out of everything he's got going on, the Egyptian leader goes, can you help me with the Nile River? Well, all right, let's do it.
As soon as these guys get out of sight, I'm going to go grab the key if it's where it's supposed to be.
I think the evidence proves you wrong.
And there's literally someone in a Tyvek suit on the other side there clearing stuff out.
1858, Abraham Lincoln delivers his famous House Divided speech during his campaign for the U.S. Senate.
Pretty sure these guys aren't even legals.
To America 250 English on Sirius XM and 125. My name is Preston James. I've been a stock and options trader for 23 years. I used to be an active swing trader, but that all changed once I discovered my Money Press weekly paycheck method. These days, I'm a passive trader, hauling in more cash while being able to sleep at night than I ever dreamed possible. I'm passionate about the market, and I like to keep it simple.
You still there, Eggsy?
Thousands of lives, and I'm confident it can change yours. But let the proof do the talking. By going to accountproof.com, that's accountproof.com, you'll see a 7-minute video revealing how my Money Press method grew a $54,000 account to $174,000 in less than 9 months. That works out to 5.8% per week. You'll see the proof right inside my real brokerage account. This isn't about overnight riches, but once you discover this for yourself, you can start on this same path overnight. You're 7 minutes away from changing everything you thought you knew about trading and investing. Go to accountproof.com to get started. That's accountproof.com.
When you're a small business owner, you're always looking for the next big thing. Whether you're a gym owner looking to expand, store stocking up for a busy season, or a restaurant owner planning a new menu, you'll always need capital.
I'm going to go ahead and try to grab the key now that they're walking away.
Banks are making it harder than ever to secure a small business loan. That's why thousands of business owners trust Cardiff for same-day funding. Their online application takes less than 5 minutes and won't impact your personal credit score. With over 2 decades of expertise, it's no surprise business owners keep voting Cardiff America's favorite small business lender. If you've been operating for at least a year and are earning at least $20,000 a month in revenue, apply now for up to $500,000 in same-day business funding at cardiff.co/SXM. Again, that's cardiff.co/SXM. Cardiff, borrow better.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted, it works, it's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 833-39-BIBLE. That's 833-39-BIBLE. 833-39-BIBLE.
Every year, an iceberg crack across Patagonia's vast wilderness, not from a distance, but standing where few travelers reach. Or watch elephants gather at a watering hole in Namibia, guided by someone who knows exactly when and where to be. With Colette's small group explorations tours, these aren't just moments, they're memories waiting to happen. Our journeys are crafted by destination insiders with immersive experiences you won't find on your own, like cooking in a family kitchen in Vietnam, or a private sumo demonstration in Japan. With Colette,
You'll enjoy a premium experience every step of the way, from expert local guides to thoughtfully chosen cultural experiences, plus private chauffeur service. With an average of just 19 travelers, you'll go deeper and connect with what makes each destination special. Use code Colette26 to save up to $250 on select explorations tours. Visit gocollette.com/serious. That's GOCOLLETTE.com/serious. Or call your travel professional and ask for Colette.
When we started Oakland Root Sports Club, we needed a strong foundation. Gusto has had our back since day one, making sure every hire, every paycheck, and every player is taken care of. They're the team behind our team. With Gusto, we stay rooted and give Oakland the love it deserves. I'm Idris Argandawal, co-founder of Oakland Roots and Gusto customer since 2018. See why 500,000 businesses trust Gusto for payroll, HR, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com/roots.
Freedom never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125.
The talk show that's getting you talking. You're with Brian Kilmeade.
I believe if they renege on this deal, action will be taken. But I can't square some of the things that are coming out of the administration from reliable sources. That's what I find so disturbing.
All right. Yeah, they are, but I think they're supposed to be here. They weren't into the other area that I'm working in. I'm going to go make a copy of this key they had hidden for me.
Let's release it and let people see what's out there so we stop debating about something none of us have seen.
Yeah, I got it read to me, and it is, it's not great. And I just know this. The best ally we have is Iran, because they'll go back on a bad deal for them and a good deal for them because they're not trustworthy. I mean, Vice President kept saying in various outlets yesterday in the 4 shows he was on, if they don't behave, they don't get the money. When have they ever behaved? Ever. In any way. They're not interested in doing that. And we just wiped out, I know people don't want to acknowledge it, we wiped out their leadership, killed the Ayatollah, injured their new supreme leader to the point where he's been defaced and defiled and deformed. And you think they're going to try to get themselves in line? No. God knows this better than me is Vice Admiral Robert Harwood, who grew up in Iran, senior advisor with the Iran Policy Project. And
well, I got my burn on me. I'm good.
Vice Admiral,
just gonna make a copy of this key.
We're just speculating on this, I think, 16-point plan. It's about 2 pages.
I didn't want them to see where it was stashed.
Well, let me give you the
so I don't have to stash one, because as long as somebody else has one.
The president controls everything. He has all the cards, and his bargaining position has never been stronger. The Iranian regime has never been weaker because of the strikes, but more importantly, and why the president is so strong, he controls all the money. The blockade is just strangling them economically. But he's hearing the rest of the world and the world economy, so he's willing to work as part of this deal to open up the Straits of Hormuz.
There's a key cutter right here in the vestibule.
It's not clear who's speaking on behalf of Iran and if they have the authority, but an acknowledgement that the Straits of Hormuz are open for business. You disavow any claims. It's international water. You're not going to charge surcharge. So if he gets that, then you get the world economy back on track.
Right, I'll be right back.
For short term,
I'm going to go make a copy of this. I'll be right back.
Ships that have been trapped inside the Arabian Gulf or the Persian Gulf, depending on which nomenclature you want to get out. So when they get out, he's achieved one of his most important objectives. Number 2 is the nuclear program. They need the nuclear material surrendered to us, either by taking it on the ground or handing it over, and avowing that they will never sign or pursue any nuclear program. So if he can accomplish those 2 things,
and he's got times on his hand to deal with all the other objectives. It's not clear to me, this document, if those are the caveats, and that's what he's going to get from this arrangement. And that's what he needs and wants.
All right, obviously, you don't have all the cards because they show 60 days and they just say, okay, 6 days are up. We're going to start tolling because they said they're going to use the term fees and with Oman. And then we find out that, they're beginning to build ballistic missiles, which, by the way, there's no provision not to. And they're allowed to get some money in and get everything going. And they start feeding that money to Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah. And they know it's close to an election. And the president doesn't want to bring the economy down 3 months before an election. So maybe they're going to feel emboldened because August is going to be here 60 days later, and they feel as though the president doesn't want to risk the price of oil.
Right. Of course, that's the risk. But again, I think the president is more focused on the objectives and getting long-term peace and stability in the region on behalf of the nations, on behalf of us and the world economy. So I think he understands all that dynamics. And don't forget, at any day he chooses, if he thinks he's being played and this president moves very aggressively and quickly, he can shut it all down. And you talk about money. The only money they're going to get out of their current arrangement is the ability to sell their oil again. And that's going to take some time to get back on the market and work that. So that timeline of them getting money from their own oil sale, freeing up their oil, aligned to this timeline, puts us into a position to be able to shut it down very quickly and really make that initial money they will be able to gain somewhat irrelevant because it's not on the scale they need to get their country back on track. So that's a strategy you can assess from what we're seeing. That's their strategy, but it's not clear from the documents or what anyone's saying at the moment.
What about the $300 billion? What does that look like to you? Because I like to see some language that says it's an escrow account, that it has some control over it, that it can't be used for anything that doesn't involve infrastructure or something to that nature. Or do you just say, hey, we can't get everything we want. If they get $300 billion from Qatar, so be it.
No, you're exactly right. That's the bargaining power by controlling the money. So they don't get any of that money until everything else is accomplished. That, I believe, is the strategy. Until they have acknowledged that the straits are international waterway, they have no control. They can't tax anyone. They're not good for it. Not until they hand over the nuclear material and vow they will not have a nuclear program should they get any money. But once those two are accomplished, then you could talk about how the money will be applied. So you're right, that's not clear in the current situation, but I hope that's the strategy being applied here.
I guess so. What are the reports inside Israel? They seem very disturbed. They were not brought into this negotiation yet. They're told not to attack Hezbollah. And now the foreign minister came out a few hours ago and said, basically, the deal's off if Israel doesn't back out of Lebanon.
Well, that's why this is also nebulous and tentative. And Israel can't back out Lebanon. They've had this problem for decades. And I'm in and out of Israel a lot. And you could watch every time I visited how deeper the defensive, how deeper the offensive was on their border and that territory right onto their border. So they needed to take that ground just to ensure their security. So that's going to be a tough pill for them to swallow. And I don't think they're going to give it. But again, one of the very tenuous components of this deal that make it very difficult to bring to fruition at the end of the day.
Yeah, I just can't see it happening. And Netanyahu's he's never not hit back when Hezbollah has hit them. And that's just not his policy. When the president said, I'll have Syria take care of Hezbollah, are you kidding? Syria? They don't have an army. They don't have missile defense. Hezbollah's got the missiles. I'm sure everyone knows.
Right, you're exactly right, but you've hit the point. Time. Every time this doesn't get passed, every day the Iranians do not get relief from the blockade, they continue to be strangled. So if it's not going to get signed this week, we have to wait. That's more pain, more leverage we have against the Iranians. So the president's always said he's not going to sign a bad deal. And if we can't solve certain components of this, such as the Lebanon and the Hezbollah component, it doesn't get done. So again, we're going to have to watch and see. And like it's been for the last 120 days, this is going to be high adventure.
Admiral, do you believe that Qatar and Pakistan are double dealing?
No. I believe they're looking after their own national security interests, and both of them are close and near to Iran and have significant strategic threats at hand. So I think they're being fair and honest brokers. But again, at the end of the day, that's somewhat irrelevant. We've got to do what we need to do, and that's the president's decision. So they could be accommodators, they could be convincers, give their 2 cents. But at the end of the day, we need to do what's in our own best interest, as they are.
Right. And again, that price of oil down, the market's up significantly, over 52,000. It's up 160, 70 points. And we know, I think when I started this show, oil was $74 a barrel. When it gets down to 65, that's the break point where oil and gas producers don't want to go any lower than that. So then we're going to feel it at the pump. And I know you're in military speak, but the president will lose considerable power if he doesn't hold on to both chambers of Congress. So he has to look long-term, Admiral, right?
Without a doubt. If you solve this problem for decades to come and you bring that Iranian market back onto the game for everyone, not just China, you change the whole dynamic. So that's why we have to have a long-term approach to this. A government in Iran who renounces nuclear weapons, who renounces any threats to the Straits of Hormuz, who renounces funding Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and others. That's the end state. That is, and we have to be focused on the objectives that get us to that long-term stability by meeting those objectives.
I just think that we have to have also a program, probably led by the CIA, that begins to arm the people. And I think it would help because this current government is presenting a problem to the entire region.
Right, I hope that's been going on for the last 100 and some days since we started this invasion. I think, and again, Iran has been fighting us asymmetrically. They never attacked us directly. They were killing our people in Iraq, killing our people in Afghanistan, attacking us through their surrogates, going after our internet, after our institutions with cyber activity. We've got to play the same game against them. We've got to fund people. We've got to communicate. We've got to do everything we can to undermine this regime unless they acknowledge and move to those objectives.
Admiral, we know you have contacts in Iran. I know the internet's back up for the most part. What's that contact been like?
It's always good. He's very, very well. Several of them are very brave to communicate, but they're very hopeful. They're concerned about this agreement, and they know very well. You got 70 million people who are pulling for the end state we've just talked about. They want a government that's going to use their resources to take care of them and not murder them. And they're hopeful we will achieve that as the end state. And look, we are where we are now because of the president's aggressive manner. He took Venezuela. He went into Iran. We wouldn't be where we are today. And I don't think he's the type of president that's going to be satisfied with anything but ensuring his legacy that he brought long-term peace and stability to the region that has been lacking for over 5 decades.
So military always tells me we don't go to war alone. We go to war with the State Department because diplomacy matters in war. So having said that, do you believe we should get a different team to work on Ukraine? And maybe
all right, we're good to go now.
We have the same 2 guys doing everything who are very talented, very successful, but not deep in diplomatic relations. And or nuclear energy or nuclear weapons. Would you like to see more teams involved in this?
Capacity is always an issue, and that's one of our strengths against other nations. We have such deep benches and such professionals that know how to do this. So, yeah, if you look at what's happened with the National Security Council from the Trump's both administration, it's been shrunk considerably at a time when they probably could have the biggest impact where you have staffs coordinating with the whole agency, State Department, Treasury, Justice, the Intel community, OSD, and others.
Fuck you waiting on, dude?
Policies and programs. So I think the shrinking of that organization and placing it all at either State Department or Department of War has been a shortfall. We could strengthen that organization, have capacity at a time where it really matters to get your best strategies from the policies you have. So I think there is work to be done in that way.
So, Admiral, it's been great talking to you through this, and now we got 60 days to go over this, and the president's going to be having a press conference very soon. We'll be carrying a lot of that, and I can't thank you enough for all your insight.
Yeah, actually, I made it was buy two get one free, so I made 3 copies. I'll leave them with the decorator. She can decide who gets them.
Every dad has that one joke he tells over and over. This Father's Day weekend, your comedy is
going to get these tag numbers. I already called out the one. Get this one on my dash cam too.
He was outstanding in his field.
YGC 706 and EDA 3669. That's a Michigan one. I don't know this one yet, but that's okay. We got those 3.
Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. So I'm going to move this over to the...
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not selling, not transferring.
I'm going to move the stream over to my laptop once I get it set up in there, so just give me a minute.
Would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331.
She's saving some of these things.
If each one of your salespeople could close as well as you...
I'm going to get it moved over.
How will your salespeople close? You're doing at least $1 million in sales or more. We guarantee in writing, we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University.
You can argue opinions all day long, but you can't argue results. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, founder of Rough Greens. And for years, the big pet food companies have told you that their kibble has everything your dog needs. But here's the truth. That bag of food is cooked at such high temperatures, it's dead food. And when you feed dead food day in and day out, the fallout is itchy skin, achy joints, no energy, and endless trips to the vet. But when you add Rough Greens, you get the live vitamins, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, and antioxidants that your dog needs. It's not marketing hype. That's real results. Senior dogs are running around like puppies. Skin problems, finally finding relief. And even the pickiest eaters are licking their bowl clean. That's proof the industry can't deny. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to see it for yourself. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. Use discount code PROOF. That's RUFF Greens. Discount code PROOF.
Stacey, Washington. I was never meant to be a radio host. It's a daily recognition of the freedom of being a woman, a Black woman in America today. And that happens because of merit and talent as opposed to right of kings, right of birth, or some other fluke that could never be mine if I were somewhere else.
Stacey on the Right, weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
He's so busy, he'll make your head spin. It's Brian Kilmeade. I expected them to be absolutely vicious, and they were only a little bit vicious. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Joy Behar even said during the break, not joking, she said, "You know what? You're like pretty good for a Republican." And I was like, whoa, that is a way better compliment than I expected from Joy Behar. I gotta say, I thought that Sunny, the woman to my left, was going to call me a racist. In reality, it was Whoopi, the woman to my right, who called me a racist. So expectations were defied.
So that was J.D. Vance, who was on Fox and Friends. He was on The Five.
Interesting. That car took off, huh?
He was on CBS, and he was on The View. This book is our best.
I'm gonna close this real quick and open it up on my laptop. All right, we're back up and live. Let's see what the wife wants. She's messaging me again. All right. The camera's dirty. Here we go. All right. Is the Tiger game's going still? Is it over with? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to piss real bad. Want me to get something on in the background. Oh, it's over with. Okay. Tigers won again. Yay. Only 12 games behind, under 500 now. All right, let's find something else then. Pretty sure I've played here. I'll just turn on Sirius XM again in the background here.
The other thing that he's going to have to think about doing is whether he wants to run with a fourth kid who's under 3. He's going to be under 2 years old, right? Because he hasn't even been born yet, or she.
Andrew Wilkow.
So here we are, America's 250th birthday, a nation built on a constitution that is endured. And here's what freedom means to me personally. The government of the United States was not designed to be a mother or a father or a nurse. Freedom means you make your own decisions and you take responsibility.
The Wilkow Majority, weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
With the high price of new and used cars today, many drivers are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot longer. But with the average car now over 12 years old, most manufacturers' warranties have expired. I'm Danica Patrick. If your car is out of warranty, a single trip to the mechanic could cost you thousands. That's why smart drivers choose Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, Endurance could have your car covered for the drivetrain, electrical, AC, transmission, and more. And Endurance is with you every step of the way, from filing a claim to paying the mechanic of your choice directly. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Call Endurance now and choose the plan that fits your budget. Act now and get 1 year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free.
For your fast free quote, call 800-458-1375. 800-458-1375. 800-458-1375.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com.
It used to be that stuffing tissues up your nose was really the only way to stop your messy, frustrating nosebleeds. Nampons are the doctor-recommended better option that over 3 million people have already discovered. So what's a Nampon? Nampons fit inside your nose perfectly, expand for gentle pressure, and even have a clotting agent clinically proven to stop the bleeding fast. And now Nampons are available at Walmart. So ditch the tissue and be prepared for your next nosebleed. Pull in the Walmart right now and get Nampons in the first aid aisle.
Freedom never gets old. Celebrating America 250. SiriusXM Patriot 125.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mary Rose. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz because of Israel's ongoing attacks in Lebanon. President Trump, in response on Saturday, threatened to impose U.S. tolls in the crucial waterway if a final deal with Iran isn't reached in 60 days. Iran's negotiators are heading to Switzerland for talks with the U.S. that start Sunday. Those living in the line of fire in northern Israel, like Eliel Loshak, hope Israel and the Lebanese government find a solution sometime soon.
I hope that we will not fall into the same traps that we have fallen in the 80s and the 90s, and that we will not have to occupy a part of Lebanon. I hope we will continue with full strength our military actions in southern Lebanon and weaken Hezbollah, and that will suffice to bring us to complete peace with the people and the government of Lebanon.
Authorities in Pakistan say 2 roadside bombs in the northwestern region have killed at least 7 people.
The first bomb targeted a vehicle, while the second bomb exploded as rescuers responded. Both bombs detonated remotely. 5 people died in the first blast and 2 died in the second. Meanwhile, a search operation is underway to find those responsible.
That's correspondent Andrew Stewart reporting. As millions of fans arrive for the 2026 World Cup, many European visitors are rethinking what they thought they knew about America.
Social media posts show tourists embracing everyday experiences, from Waffle House breakfasts to expansive road trips, while praising American hospitality. A Heartland Institute analysis says the reaction highlights the country's economic freedom and entrepreneurial culture compared to Europe. Communities across the U.S. are welcoming visitors, fueling a sense of national pride as America approaches its 250th birthday. John Scott reporting.
More at townhall.com.
Larry Older here. For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea, that we were meant to live free. Free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But if everyday aches and pains are slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free, research-based formula designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix or a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor was created so people could get back to living life on their terms. walking, working, exercising, and enjoying the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, we're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76, so you can declare your independence from pain and take your control. Your 1776 3-week quick start is ready for you. Visit ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has announced a 6-month Pentagon review of American forces in Europe. Correspondent Ken Lorman reports the review's outcome will depend on how quickly European allies take responsibility for their own security.
Hegseth is criticizing NATO allies for not providing access to bases for U.S. forces to launch attacks on Iran. He also accuses Europe of prioritizing gender equity and climate change over defense. The review could impact NATO's collective security guarantee, but U.S. nuclear weapons will remain in Europe.
NATO Security General Mark Rutte notes a significant increase in European defense spending. Father's Day is Sunday, and Americans are expected to spend big. The National Retail Federation's annual survey projects Father's Day spending to hit a record $28 billion this year. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
Hey, it's me, Sebastian Maniscalco. If you're fed up or confused as I am, tune into the Sebastian Maniscalco Show. Every week, me and my longtime friend Pete Corielli get into it. Catch brand new episodes premiering every Tuesday with replays throughout the week on my exclusive Sirius XM station, Sebastian Maniscalco's Comedy Radio. What channel do you ask? 99. Right. And on the Sirius XM app.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. He was in great health. It was out of nowhere. Had a stroke. And super hard, obviously, for the whole family. But my dad had life insurance. So even after he passed away, he was still able to provide for my mom. And of course, by extension, my brother and I. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife, and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. 10 minutes. You're covered. Your family is covered. You get $2 million in coverage for $2 a day. That's a 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male. We don't like to talk about death in our culture, but everyone's going to die. You're going to die. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS. Ethos.com/Slater. Rates may vary, billed monthly. Ethos.com/Slater.
Mark Levin. As we moved into the constitutional period, the most important philosopher was Montesquieu, and he emphasized separation of powers. And he specifically talks about a judicial, that is judiciary, an executive, the president, and a legislature, of course, Congress. These are great men. They did great things. In the Revolutionary War, we lost more battles than we won, but we won the battles we had to win 250 years ago.
The Mark Levin Show, weekdays starting at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
From the Fox News radio studios in Midtown Manhattan, it's the fastest growing radio talk show. Brian Kilmeade.
All right, welcome everybody back to the show. We're ready for action today, and there's a lot going on, especially in the city that I'm in. They are celebrating a championship for the first time in 53 years. The New York Knicks, 4 million expected to show up, and I think everybody plus, they're turning people away from the city. At least you can get on the parade route as the New York Knicks really shocked the world by winning a championship. They knew they were contenders. Actually, as a 3 seed, supposed to go deep, but not many people thought we'd see a playoff run, an epic run like that, and they've accepted an invitation to the White House. I think they're going to be the first NBA champion to go to the White House since Donald Trump's 2 terms. So that will be impressive. Charlie Hertz in the studio. Senator Tommy Tuberville is going to be here. And the senator wants to be the next governor of Alabama. We'll talk about that. So let's get to the big 3.
Number 3.
Take the random folks I met in Tennessee. I was standing outside an Arby's. Then they pointed me to a local barbecue place, and I ended up having one of the best meals of my life. That is the US I know. And I think that's what the World Cup is showing a lot of Europeans. The headlines will show you a country, but Americans will show you America.
Wow, World Cup mania, hot on and off the field. The world sees the real America and loves it. The players provide incredible drama, and England winning Wednesday 4-2 over Croatia as the U.S. gets set for Game 2 against Australia, which will not be easy. Could they be missing their best player? We'll discuss it.
Number 2.
Well, I think we're going to continue to see those oil prices come down, and not just the futures prices. You're going to see the price that refineries are having to pay to get product in the door right now. Those prices are going to come down in the weeks and months ahead.
So the market's up 230 points, and oil barrel per oil is down under $4. The economy beginning to boom. The market soar. Interest rates stay flat. All of this and how it relates to the midterms.
Number 1.
It's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
Well, there's more to it than that. Our Iran MOU, memo of understanding, not A-OK. We look at the 14 points that bring us to the 60-day window to get a comprehensive deal done with the terror state. We bring you every angle, and there's a lot. And basically, we say this. They say they're not going to get a nuclear weapon, but they've always said that. They even denied that they're trying to get a nuclear weapon. They are going to get the Strait open. That's going to be good. We're going to stop our blockade. That's going to be easy. And then the hard stuff happens. What can we expect them to do now that they're able to sell their oil right away? And we release banking restrictions. And Hezbollah has already been alerted, according to Reuters, that financing is coming their direction. What does Hezbollah do? They live to attack Israel, who is going to be told to get out of Lebanon, which is not going to happen. Charlie Hurt, Fox and Friends Weekend. Joe, we're getting this all in real time. The president signed it physically yesterday. It's going to be official today.
Right.
And we also know the vice president's going to be taking over for Caroline Leavitt today. He's going to be playing the role as press secretary. What do you think?
So this is a timeout for sure. And as you pointed out earlier this morning, it makes it very, very difficult, even more difficult than it was a week ago, for bombing to begin again, if that's what President Trump wants to do. But I think that the timeout kind of works to the advantage of both sides. Obviously, you go through a lot of good arguments for why the timeout goes to the advantage of Iran. But obviously, President Trump also has real domestic issues that he's got to be concerned about. I think that the 60 days down the line, we'll be in the midst of at the very height of the midterm elections. Those are important. Donald Trump is a realist. He's always been a political realist. I think that after the election, if Iran is still behaving the way they were behaving before, I think that you're looking at a very different situation. President Trump has demonstrated one thing, and that is that he is willing to actually confront these people. Obviously, a lot of, and you bring up the issue of Lebanon and the Hezbollah, which has completely, obviously the civil war there is over, but it's basically a civil war in Lebanon right now with Hezbollah versus the Lebanese government. If you're in favor of ending the forever wars, as I am, I think you're probably never going to end the forever wars as long as you have proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis committing mass terror in places like Lebanon and firing on.
So here's what the president said to your point about, listen, if they start breaking the rules, here's what we'll do. Cut one.
It's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon. But they've agreed not to, and you'll see that very clearly in the agreement.
So it's done by Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and led really by the vice president. And I just feel as though the president of the United States gave away too much up front. The fact that they can sell oil right away at full market rates, something they haven't done in 20 years, and they don't deserve to do. There's one thing that's pretty consistent is they never lived up to anything they said, and the president does have credibility where no other president has. He's willing to take the fight to them. But the other thing is the president came out and said something that really makes no sense. And he said this about nuclear energy. Cut 4.
Well, I've said to them always, I say, look, you have probably the third largest oil reserves in the world. What the hell do you need nuclear for? You need nuclear for some electricity. So I've always felt that way. So we've been pretty tough on that. It is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense.
Well, no. The common sense is you cannot enrich uranium in country. UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, they don't enrich uranium in the country. They get it delivered in fuel rods and other things. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget, I think that, earlier, a couple of months ago, you actually had the administration offering Iran to provide them with electricity, nuclear electricity, that would not allow them to be refining their own uranium on a for domestic purposes. So what exactly he meant right there, I'm not really sure about that.
Right.
But this is why people say, try to compare this to the Obama thing, or they could try to compare it to Biden negotiations. I don't see any comparison whatsoever. And one of the big reasons for that is that, like you just said a second ago, the reason we vote for the person that we like is because you have faith in that person. And I have infinitely more faith in President Trump to hold the line and represent America's interests than I do Joe Biden or Barack Obama. I honestly believe that Barack Obama and Joe Biden were gladly willing to sell out all of America's priorities. And there is a real tension here, obviously. You have American interests and the interests of the civilized world, but you also have domestic priorities that matter a lot to people. And if you can't convince the American people that this is a war that's worth paying $6 a gallon, then you've got a problem.
That's why in the end, winning is important. But there's no way, I think, that if he got to this point, he's going to bomb in August. Okay. He's going to wait till after November.
No, you're exactly right about that. But think about this, Brian. Think about if, this is the second midterm, the midterms of the second term of a presidency. Those are bloodbaths for the party in power. Donald Trump is in the second midterm, the midterms of his second term. And it's not just a regular second term. It's a second term that happened 4 years later than most midterms. This should be a bloodbath, the likes of which we've never seen in politics. Yet Republicans are holding their own.
You see the Economist story? The Economist story said Republicans are beginning to surge.
Yeah, and there was no doubt in my mind at the beginning of this year that Republicans were going to lose the House and probably could lose the Senate. The map is a little bit favorable in the Senate, but in the House, it's going to be a wipeout. I wouldn't say that now. I wouldn't be surprised if we weren't looking at maybe even some modest gains. But my point is this: if Republicans come back after November and Donald Trump and his party is in stronger shape, Donald Trump has a free hand to do whatever he wants. It will be a complete confirmation of his leadership and of what his agenda.
I just wish he personally did this negotiation. I know he can't do everything because there's no way that J.D. Vance. I just feel fundamentally he wasn't into it anyway. He let everybody know that, leaked it out. However, it became abundantly clear. And he's like a lot of the podcasters out there who think that Donald Trump has no business going after Iran, even. No, the case could be made for 47 years and 7 other presidents that they've been a huge problem to America, and they take great pride in killing us or taking us hostage. So he decides to take it on. It's a very gutsy move. It ends up
in an election year.
Right.
No politician in history has ever done something this big in an election year because it's so complicated and there's no way to get it done. The Iraq War started when? 2003, not 2002, 2003. And I'm not comparing that, America's interest there to America's interest here. I think America's interest here is a lot more defined than Iraq War. But my point is that nobody ever engages in something this massive in an election year. And Donald Trump has the guts to do it. Why? Not because it's politically advantageous to him at all. It's the opposite. It's because he believes it was the right thing to do. And it'll still, and those beliefs will still be there after the election. And if Republicans win or do much better than expected, then he's going to have an even stronger hand.
Yeah, I think he's doing it anyway. I bet you in November, when Iran starts funneling money to Hezbollah, when they start, again, not living up to the deal, when they have the audacity to say what the parliamentary speaker said today, that we're going to come up with a program of fees for an international waterway, not going to happen. In November, it would be over. But Victor Davis Hanson, who's a military historian, said this, cut 14.
It's going to be more difficult to ensure they're not giving money to the Hezbollah and the Houthis and Hamas. That's more murky, and we don't know what they're going to do in Lebanon. And then, of course, we don't know what's going on in Iran because this is the first real air war. We don't have boots on the ground. We don't have embeds, but we will learn very shortly, and we're going to get an idea of just how much damage was done. I think it might have been $500 billion or more in the nuclear military industrial complex. The main denominator, though, that has to be ironclad is we have to react disproportionately anytime they break the agreement.
Hard. That will be it. Yeah. But you just want to do it in a way that doesn't rock the economy if the economy has everything to do with the president keeping the House and the Senate.
Look, the idea of defunding Hezbollah and Hamas is like pie in the sky, brilliant, love it, would love to have that happen. But the reality of it is that that's going to be very difficult. And that was not what we were talking about at the beginning of this. What President Trump was talking about at the beginning of this was taking away their nuclear weapons and their ability to launch a nuclear strike. And he has done more to succeed at that effort than anything else. And obviously he's going to be watching. We'll spend months talking about UN the investigators trying to go in to deal with the nuclear dust and what happens to it, whether it gets downgraded or whether it gets removed. We're going to have all these conversations about all that stuff. But I think everybody can agree they have been removed significantly away from being able to develop a nuclear bomb right away.
Except for the pickaxe. Pickaxe has not been touched. They caved in the entrance, and that evidently is the gold standard in a granite mountain. And it just goes to show you, they keep lying and saying they never had plans for a nuclear weapon. You don't build a facility inside a mountain. But you think if he's waiting for a nuclear weapon.
You think come late November, if we have reliable intelligence that shows that they are trying to do something there, that President Trump doesn't come back and do something about it?
The question is, in 60 days, if they just give the Heisman to our negotiators, who I'm convinced we need a fresh set. To me, you can't have Henry Kissinger and his disciples. I don't care, the best negotiators ever. You can't do Ukraine, Gaza, and Iran. I mean, it's an impossible portfolio. You have to be able to get other people in there that have expertise in this area. So for me, personally, that's what I would love to see. Here's one thing in terms of politics, and I'll let you go, Troy, and get ready for your weekend. Harry Enten on CNN talked about what you just brought up about what's going to happen in the midterms. Cut 34.
I think the warning sign is this. Democrats have an edge, but compared to what we see historically, it's really not that big of a lead. I mean, just take a look here. Okay, this is Congress National June polls, Dem leads, and this is NBC News, midterm years with the GOP press. Look at this. They're up by 5 points, but that's half the lead they had back in 2018 when it was 10 points, and less than half the lead they had back in 2006 with 11 points when Democrats took back the House in both of those years. And now the Democratic lead is on a single hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And it's this type of lead where you say, you know what, Democrats are ahead, but don't count your chickens just quite yet.
And of course, all of this is happening with an economy that is, on paper, very robust despite what is going on in the Strait of Hormuz, despite what's going on with gas prices. you turn the gas prices around and you've got 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. If it's going in the right direction, it's already
already going in the right direction.
Charlie, who's on this weekend? Do you know?
We've got, Rachel and
8
Griff,
hours.
Yeah, exactly. We're just putting together the greatest
6
show.
to 10.
And then, of course, 6 to 10 6 a.m.
to
it's
10.
4 hours. Yeah.
8 hours.
Yeah, you do 3 hours. 3 hours. We just did 3 hours.
That's why I don't
It's
get
easy.
paid. That's why I don't get paid. It's just too easy.
And we'll have you promoting your show on Sunday.
While providing
that's the highest rated segment every single weekend.
Well, if I could talk World Cup, I'm coming on.
Yeah. And we're already all dressed. So you don't even need to do that.
I don't even need to tell you that. But you should be saying
it. And I'm going to be with you tomorrow morning.
Right. As yourself. You're playing yourself
I'll
tomorrow.
be myself.
Back in a moment.
Both sides, all opinions. It's Brian Kilmeade.
The 2026 NBA Draft could transform the league.
This NBA Draft is incredibly deep. Definitely the deepest in my mind since 2017.
Hear every franchise-shaping decision on SiriusXM. Listen to NBA Radio for interviews with the top prospects and analysis throughout the week.
This is where your GM makes his money.
Then, Tuesday and Wednesday night at 8 Eastern. Hear every selection of the NBA Draft on Channel 86 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-294-3311. 800-294-3311.
Got a backyard project or lawn to tame? For over 50 years, VP Racing Fuels has dominated racetracks around the world. Did you know your trimmer, chainsaw, or blower is a little air-cooled race engine, making VP Racing Fuels the logical choice to fuel it? Our specially formulated fuels promote smooth first starts and longer-performing engine life. Available now at all your local retailers. Don't let low-quality fuel stall your weekend. When it matters most, choose VP Racing Small Engine Fuels.
Business owners with salespeople. If each one of your salespeople could close as well as you do, or your top salesperson, how much more money would you make? Hi, this is world's top sales trainer, Jason Evans. If the success of your business is heavily based on how well your salespeople close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more, we guarantee in writing, we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free. No strings, nothing to buy, and let us prove how much better we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close from A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University.
One 877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Larry Elder here. For 250 years, Americans have believed in one powerful idea, that we were meant to live free. Free to work hard, free to move, free to enjoy life without being held back. But if everyday aches and pains are slowing you down, it might be time to declare your independence from pain. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free, research-based formula designed to help your body fight inflammation, one of the root causes of pain. It's not a quick fix or a temporary mask. It works from the inside out at the source. Relief Factor was created so people could get back to living life on their terms. Walking, working, exercising, and enjoying the moments that matter. This year, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, take a stand for your own freedom. To commemorate, we're offering a special patriotic price, just $17.76, so you can declare your independence from pain and take your control. Your $17.76 3-week quick start is ready for you. Visit ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF.
We, the people
of the United States.
This week in American history.
June 16th, 1858, Abraham Lincoln delivers his famous House Divided speech during his campaign for the U.S. Senate.
And on June 19th, 1865, Union troops arrive in Texas to announce the end of slavery, a day now celebrated as Juneteenth.
Counting down to America 250.
Only on Sirius XM Patriot 125.
Dusty as hell in here, man.
Radio that makes you think. This is the Brian Kilmeade Show.
You know, coming up next, we're going to have Senator Tommy Tuberville. He likes this deal. We talked a lot about the Iran deal. I'll talk about more than that. And the President of the United States has made it clear the one thing that he's got is a hammer. The one thing that George H.W., George W., Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden didn't have is any record of taking military action against Iran in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the Khobar Towers never answered. The Marine barracks were never answered. We could go over and over about the hostages that were taken and paid for. There was never really answered. You know, we blew up an oil refinery once. But the president did it with taking out Soleimani. The president did it with Midnight Hammer. The president did it with 3 weeks of war over this from February until March or April. So that's why he'll have the hammer. They start their antics up, which we know they will. It all comes back down. But rallying the rest of the world to put sanctions back on, that'll be the key, which will be tougher. But right now, the market's up over 300 points and oil is down. And I think the president sucks it up, takes a little criticism into the midterms.
Sean Hannity.
We live in the single best, greatest country God ever gave man. In your quiet, more reflective moments, you think of the sacrifice, the gifts. So many have sacrificed for our liberty, our freedom. What a blessing this is. I got to say this. Thank God we live in the best country ever. And happy 250th birthday to the United States of America.
The Sean Hannity Show. Weekdays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Patriot. Freedom never gets old.
My name is Preston James. I've been a stock and options trader for 23 years. I used to be an active swing trader, but that all changed once I discovered my Money Press weekly paycheck method. These days, I'm a passive trader hauling in more cash while being able to sleep at night than I ever dreamed possible. I'm passionate about the market and I like to keep it simple. My methods are changing thousands of lives and I'm confident it can change yours. But let the proof do the talking. By going to accountproof.com, that's accountproof.com, you'll see a 7-minute video revealing how my Money Press method grew a $54,000 account to $174,000 in less than 9 months. That works out to 5.8% per week. You'll see the proof right inside my real brokerage account. This isn't about overnight riches, but once you discover this for yourself, you can start on this same path overnight. You're 7 minutes away from changing everything you thought you knew about trading and investing. Go to accountproof.com to get started. That's accountproof.com.
Business owners with salespeople. If each one of your salespeople could close as well as you do, or your top salesperson, how much more money would you make? Hi, this is world's top sales trainer, Jason Evans. If the success of your business is heavily based on how well your salespeople close, you're doing at least $1 million a year in sales or more, we guarantee in writing, we will increase your sales by 50% minimum through powerful sales training. Try one session of our one-on-one sales coaching with your sales team over Zoom, absolutely free. No strings, nothing to buy, and let us prove how much better we can get them in just 1 hour. 800-300-5173. Call now to set up an appointment, not to sell you, but to talk about getting you your free session to prove results. Where's the risk? 800-300-5173. This is how to close from A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. 800-300-5173. 800-300-5173. That's 800-300-5173. Paid for by Power Sales University.
Business owners, have you ever stopped to consider what your life's work might be worth? Most owners spend decades building a business. They sacrifice weekends, miss family events, worry about payroll, navigate economic cycles, and carry risks most people could never understand. Then one day they realize the company they've spent a lifetime building may be worth far more than they ever imagined. Depending on your industry, your company could be worth tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet many owners continue taking the same risks they've taken for years because they've never explored what a sale could mean for their family, their future, and the next chapter of their lives. At Carnegie Point, we help business owners understand their options. Whether you want to sell your entire company, sell a majority interest, or simply understand what your business may be worth, we're here to help. Call Carnegie Point today for a confidential valuation and financial analysis at 800-577-4344. That's 800-577-4344. Or visit CarnegiePoint.com.
With the high price of new and used cars today, many drivers are choosing to keep their vehicles a lot longer. But with the average car now over 12 years old, most manufacturers' warranties have expired. I'm Danica Patrick. If your car is out of warranty, a single trip to the mechanic could cost you thousands. That's why smart drivers choose Endurance. If your vehicle is less than 20 years old, no matter the mileage, Endurance could have your car covered for the drivetrain, electrical, AC, transmission, and more. And Endurance is with you every step of the way, from filing a claim to paying the mechanic of your choice directly. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Call Endurance now and choose the plan that fits your budget. Act now and get 1 year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value free.
For your fast free quote, call 800-298-2007. 800-298-2007. 800-298-2007.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
Fed up with stubborn earwax? Get Wax RX from Dr. Easy. Dr. Easy professional ear washers have been used over 40 million times by medical professionals. Now you can get the same results at home with Wax RX, the personal ear wash system. Just like our professional ear washers, Wax RX flushes away stubborn earwax without a trip to the doctor. Don't be fooled by store brands and cheap knockoffs. Pull into a Walmart or Shoppers Drug Mart right now and get the original doctor-invented Wax RX in the ear care aisle.
Freedom never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125.
His mouth to your ears. It's Brian Kilmeade.
All right, there you go. Kennedy is on my rundown. She is the host of Kennedy Saves the World podcast. And turns out she showed up and she's wearing, if you're not watching the stream, you're missing out. Always.
You're missing out.
Because you are wearing a national team jersey.
That's right.
And it's, I like it. People are giving me pushback on the jersey saying it's not good. I think it's perfect.
I love it. And
it's wavy.
Not only is it cool, it looks good on the pitch.
Right. You were pumped up for the World Cup, but you always were pumped up.
I love the World Cup. Yeah, so we have this ongoing debate every 4 years because my daughter is named Pele. She's named after the soccer player. My ex-husband is now saying, no, she's named after the fire goddess because the fire goddess in Hawaii is Pele. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, in fact, when I was pregnant, I went around telling people she's not named after the fire goddess. And when she was born, I was like, not the fire goddess. And now he's like, oh, yeah, it's fire goddess. I'm like,
Okay. Is this why you divorced him?
This is it.
This is it. This is really. And then you held your ground. Right.
Look at me.
A lot of times they say that kids can break up a marriage.
Very limited patience.
But this is directly. I mean, this is a kid breaking up the marriage by name.
Yeah. Hope you're happy.
So, yeah. And how does she feel about this?
So she's now like Team Fire Goddess. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we went into a Subway in 2014 during the World Cup, and there was a massive cutout of Pele, who at the time was in his late 70s. And I was like, that's who you're named after. And she was like, oh my God. Because, she didn't
understand.
Yeah. And I have since bought her a signed Pele jersey from when he was on the Cosmos.
So do you realize when he went on the Cosmos, we were like, oh, he was so old, like 80. No, he was at 33. He just retired. That's still the prime of your career.
It really is.
I mean, Tom Brady was still learning the playbook at that age.
He was still deflating balls then.
Right. Yeah, that's right. He got caught 4 years later.
He did.
More on that. You don't want to expand on that story now. I don't think it's appropriate.
I don't think Giselle wants me to expand on that.
I don't think Giselle wants anything to do with Tom Brady's balls.
Nope. Not anymore.
Not anymore. At one point, that's all she talked about.
Couldn't shut her up.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right. In Brazilian, in Portuguese.
Yeah. Brazilian.
Yeah.
She speaks that devil's tongue known as Brazilian.
So what I'm loving.
I always thought it was so weird that she has a German last name, but was raised in South America. Were there other Germans who, I don't know, relocated to South America at some point?
Yes,
Yeah,
I think they did.
Oh, okay.
They
I
hid
wasn't
out for a while.
I mean, I know you're the historian.
Right.
I just heard some things, but I wasn't sure.
Sir, when we got to the Nazi club, a lot of them were gone. And they went to Argentina, Brazil.
Oh, Brazil,
Central America.
really?
And I heard that, remember Trotsky, and you remember this like it was yesterday. Remember Trotsky and Stalin had a bit of a rivalry.
Yeah.
Like who's going to run the place now that Lenin's in a tomb?
Yeah.
By the way, at any moment, he could pop right out of that glass case.
You never know.
And he'd be really shocked by the internet as well as AI. And how little his country has progressed.
It's like, I woke up for this.
Yes.
They're taking our jobs.
We're fighting Ukraine. So I didn't plan on talking about Lenin because do you have any sound of Lenin, Eric? No, we don't. Okay, forget it.
Cut 4?
Right. No, just play cut 4. I think it's Lenin. So he had a little rivalry. Stalin takes over.
Yeah.
Trotsky loses.
Yeah.
So Stalin, not convinced that Trotsky's not coming back, found him in Central America, put an axe in the back of his head.
Oof.
You can't support
Sure that wasn't Pete Hegseth?
No. That we should tell people, Pete, when he was host
of Fox and Friends Weekend,
was doing axe throwing.
As a fun on-camera activity.
Yes. Why do I have to qualify so much of what you say?
Got a little overexcited.
Yeah. And threw it and missed.
Went over the target.
Yes.
And might have nicked the hand of a member of the marching band who was about to serenade the crew.
He was down. So they had to go without a bass drum. Right? And a little bit of a bleed. He bled
Not
out.
quite the same.
Right. So what was I saying? True.
Trotsky, back of the head, axe.
Giselle Bündchen. She's happy. I'm sure she's happy with your jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Poor Tom Brady. Things haven't really broken for him since.
No, he hasn't.
The poor guy
ended up in a long-term relationship. He's tied to a lot of sexy starlets and models.
Right.
But they're blabbermouths, and he's private.
You telling me?
Yeah. That's right, Brian. You know.
Yeah, I've been down that road. Not yet. I don't even know where the road is. But for Tom Brady's life couldn't be. I think Tom Brady's happier. He's got his family.
Yeah.
And he's got a soccer team. He's got a football team.
He's got a football team.
He's got the best broadcasting contract, very similar to mine, $500 million. $500 million. And he has to do everything when he wants.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, where were we? Oh, let's talk soccer. What I'm loving is what's on the field is great, but I love off the field. People seem to be loving our country. Here's Fox 4 over in Dallas talking to some Japanese fans.
Oh, I love this.
Cut 44.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, how you doing?
My name is...
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Hirochika Nakakuki.
Oh, wow.
It's live?
Okay.
It's live?
Yes, it's live.
Yeah.
How excited are you?
Yeah.
You were so excited, right? Japan, right?
Excuse me.
Okay.
I cannot speak English, but I'm excited.
He's excited.
Right. That's the most...
I love it so much.
Eric, that was the most vacuous soundbite you have ever pulled. There was nothing.
Was that Trotsky?
Huh? That was no, not Trotsky.
Oh,
He would not. He was worried about Stalin hunting him down. He would not get in front of a camera. So that was on Fox 4. But that just shows him having fun.
Yes.
By the way, you can't say in English, I don't speak English.
No, No,
that means you speak English.
So in Japan, they're very, very self-conscious about their English. And every Japanese student learns English for several years. But when you go to Japan and you ask for directions, they will wave you off because they don't want to embarrass themselves. Like, it's really important for them.
Did you go to Japan?
I've been to Japan several times. Yeah. Big fan. I love it.
How long a ride is that?
It's from New York. I think it's 11 hours. Yeah.
In the air.
Not by boat, Brian. Yeah. That would be quite a speedboat.
Right.
I'd like to see that.
It would definitely be something you'd have to wear one of those special wristbands that they give you on cruises because of the waves.
But the most predictable thing in the world would have been for people to come over here and just crap all over the United States.
And say, everything's commercialized. They ruined the spirit of the World Cup. It's just the opposite.
Americans are rude. Their restaurants are lame. Their food is processed. And they're like, oh my God, I get it. A free bowl of chips and salsa when I sit down at a Mexican place? It's like,
they go and play at Cowboy Stadium. I forgot the name of it. And they go, air conditioning. I'm like, can we just go over there with Freon? You'd be the most popular guy in London.
Air conditioning and ice. They cannot believe that you get to go over to a machine and put your own ice in your cup and you can fill up a gallon.
They just can't believe refills. No. Right. So here's more from NBC. They're over in Boston. Listen to Scottish fans, Cup 46.
There was no beer. The Scots fans just drunk the place dry, and all they had was like Bud Light.
If your favorite beer is missing from a tap,
we've never seen anything like it.
There's a decent chance Scotland had something to do with it. Sam Adams downtown ran out of their signature Boston lager over the weekend and needed an emergency delivery to keep up with World Cup fans. And they're not the only ones running dry.
Pretty much everything. We ran out of everything. Tennent's being number one.
White Bull Tavern may have run out of Scotland's iconic Tennent's beer, but that didn't stop the party.
The fans have been unbelievable. They're great. They're fun. They're drinking, partying, having a great time.
So you have a drinking kilt for obvious reasons, because it might get some spillage on it. You have a dress kilt, so you always have two kilts.
The Dubliner has also been hopping.
We had our biggest week ever last week.
And it's the one place Scots can still find their Tennent's lager.
Managed to plan ahead and get an extra delivery last Saturday, and I was told yesterday the distributor has ran out also.
So this is a tragedy.
That's great.
In the most fun way possible.
Yeah, and by the way, Boston is a drinking town.
Yeah.
Not a big college town, but it is a drinking town. And the Scots have just done yeoman's work there. Very impressive. They just seem like the funnest fans.
I know.
In all of World Cup.
It's not one of those groups that gets drunk and then gets an edge on them and starts wrecking things. No.
They're not hooligans.
They just keep singing.
Yeah.
And by the way, and I was telling this to Allison before, for guys, people that drink all the time, they don't look bad.
No.
They look good.
Scottish. They're hearty.
Right.
Well, you can take our beer, but you'll never take our freedom. I think that's what William Wallace said.
Right. Or Mel Gibson said that William Wallace said it in the movie Braveheart.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
which,
that's
by the way, did not end good. I finally found out what drawn and quartered meant. Ugh.
It's not something they do in art class.
Right. They actually take out your organs just because he tried to take over their country.
Yeah.
Or he wanted their freedom.
Yeah.
Never worked out.
Yeah, that's why it's in the Constitution, like cruel and unusual punishment is not really high-fived.
Right, that would qualify.
States. It would,
I'd rather go to prison for a year than give up my gallbladder that's perfectly healthy or my pancreas.
You can't live without your pancreas. You can live without your gallbladder.
I think the goal was not for you to live, right?
Oh, if they're taking out like important organs, yeah.
So we never see that part of it, but we can imagine it. But I don't want to give away the ending. But Scotland doesn't get their freedom, but they did win their first game,
which is amazing.
Right.
I saw that Friday night, Saturday night. I was in South Carolina.
I was
getting ready to watch the Knicks.
I only watched one European game, and it was something like the Kuwaiti Cup or something like that, and it was in England, and it was Celtic. They had played against Manchester United.
Cool.
And the fans were absolutely insane. And they were more important. It's the only time where I think the fans are more important than the team.
Yes.
Like the fans go, you're just going to be here for a few years. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. Like they realize we are the group.
Yeah.
Right.
Manchester. I saw a game in Munich. I saw Bayern. It was amazing. And Sadio Mane is from Senegal, and he played against, was it France yesterday?
Yes. No, yeah. France beat them 3-1.
Yeah. It was 2 days ago.
Mbappe.
Yes.
Almost had a penalty kick. They reviewed it, said he didn't. I love the way they punish people that take dives now.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
That's okay.
Right.
He also scored 2 goals.
Right. If that's what is that how we're keeping score now?
Apparently, yes. That is actually how they keep score.
Okay, so it's not even a phrase.
The goals that matter.
Yeah. Okay. It's not that. Well, that's not how I judge. No, I do judge it that way.
Yeah.
So okay, so the U.S. tomorrow will break that down. Also, when we come back, the Knicks are having a parade.
Oh yeah.
Right. And your feeling about the Knicks is?
It's my secondary team. I'm not like a Knicks tried and true fan. I'm a Portland Trailblazers fan, but I love that they're doing really well. I don't like the Mets. I love the Yankees. I like the Knicks.
Okay. Back in a moment.
Increasing your intelligence quotient.
What the hell did you just say?
It's Brian Kilmeade.
The U.S. Open is on SiriusXM. This is really good. It's going right towards the hole. It's in! Hear exclusive coverage from Shinnecock Hills Golf Club right now.
4 feet for one of the most incredible up and downs in U.S. Open history.
He's playing the 14th hole, his 5th of the day. He's right at the hole, and it goes in. A couple of hops, and boom! That's an eagle. U.S. Open Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and the SiriusXM app. The shot of the day in the U.S. Open.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331.
It was really gross.
The itching was totally unbearable.
I wasn't comfortable going to the beach or the pool because of it.
Fungal infections like jock itch, athlete's foot, ringworm, and tinea are a nightmare, especially during the summer months. The itching, the embarrassment, the frustration when the fungus comes back. Most creams only do half the job, giving temporary relief. But the TerraSil fungal treatment system provides fast, complete relief. Only TerraSil combines the clinically proven antifungal clotrimazole with natural ingredients and patented activated minerals to fight infection while soothing itch and burning. TerraSil penetrates deeper than other creams, killing fungus at the root. And it's the only dual-action system, soap plus ointment, that helps stop fungus from coming back.
TerraSil finally solved the problem.
Nothing got rid of my fungus like TerraSil.
Now I can finally enjoy summer fun without being self-conscious. Thank you, TerraSil.
Ask for TerraSil at your local Walgreens or CVS, or search TerraSil on Amazon. That's TerraSil.
Got a backyard project or lawn to tame? For over 50 years, VP Racing Fuels has dominated racetracks around the world. Did you know your trimmer, chainsaw, or blower is a little air-cooled race engine, making VP Racing Fuels the logical choice to fuel it? Our specially formulated fuels promote smooth first starts and longer-performing engine life. Available now at all your local retailers. Don't let low-quality fuel stall your weekend. When it matters most, choose VP Racing Small Engine Fuels.
You already know French Lick Resort for world-class golf and casino gaming. We're also the region's leader in corporate meeting space and hospitality. Chicago, Atlanta, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, you're all within a single tank of gas. So skip the airport this year, drive in, and experience French Lick Resort, home of the 1924 PGA Championship. Get started now at FrenchLick.com.
Must be 21 to enter casino. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT or text INGAMB to 53342. Message and data rates may apply.
David Webb. America's evolution over 250 years is part of our celebration. What we do next as a country, what you do next as an American matters. It's about we the people. That's where the power begins. That's where the power continues. That's where the future lies for America.
The David Webb Show, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot.
Freedom never gets old.
Actually, let's switch this over to cleaning.